Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
I mean, I don't know how many times I have to prove my perfectly honed instincts. I mean, it's just time after time, I'm so right.
And Rich Craich.
It's going to sound really gatekeepy, but if this is your match of the year, you need to watch more wrestling. I mean, seriously, when it was over, I was like, the people that think this is like one of the... Like, I got some wrestling to show these people.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
No, how are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I know you're a proud owner of a new Mazda. Is that true? Is that what I'm hearing in the streets? That's what the streets are saying?
Why don't you just dox me fully while we're at it? Why don't you
License
give
plate.
my address out? Why don't you?
I think Mazda is not enough to make it. You think someone's going to walk around the streets, walk around Texas and look for a Mazda and go, it's Lanza. I knew it. Maybe. You do have a lot of enemies, maybe.
Yeah, any little clue can help them achieve their goal. So,
I apologize. Trade it in. It's at peak value right now. You know,
like that cut out of the show, sir. No, it's it's my never-ending series of leases. I don't buy anything.
You're a leaser. Yeah, you're a lease dude, right?
I'm a leaser.
You're also a lot of people were surprised by this because on our Discord you were talking about how you were gonna have to strap in for a multi-day negotiation session with car dealers, and a lot of people were like, and people, I guess, because we get new listeners all the time, and they don't know the lore that I guess this is a couple years ago, the last time we've done Joe at the car dealership. But you love car dealerships, right? Like that is you thrive in it, love it, anticipate it. Like everybody was kind of like, oh yeah, sorry, Joe, because you were like, oh, here we go, multi-day of me trying to get a car or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, hang in there, Joe, it'll be done in a little bit. And you're like, no, I love it. I want it to be multi-day. I never want it to end. And you crack your knuckles and like a gunslinger in the Wild West. You're like, let's do this. Let's go. Let's slide things past the table. Go talk to your finance manager. That's not going to work for me, brother. As you get up and you leave, like you live for this shit for some reason. I hate it, but you live for this, correct?
I love negotiating car deals. I love it.
You are insane.
No, it's so much fun. I mean, there's nothing that it's just so manly to sit across from a table from a car dealer and just like a pair of gunslingers and just go at it. Me versus you. Who's going to win? Am I going to get my deal? Of course I am. I'm Joe Lanza. I'm always going to get my deal. But how long is this going to take? You know? Who's going to blink first? What tactics am I going to use? It's so much fun. Trading numbers back and forth, sending them back with that little, listen, they come out with that slip of paper, right? You know the slip of paper,
I know
right?
it well, yeah.
With the three options on it. They're like, well, if you put this down and you put this down and you put this down, here what your payments will look like for X amount of money. Now, like you said, that's not going to work for me, brother. You slide that paper right back. You say this isn't going to work. See, that's the problem. A lot of people get intimidated. They slide them that first piece of paper, and people get intimidated, and they just agree to the first deal they're offered. You can't do that. You can't do that. This is a multi-hour, sometimes multi-day, sometimes multi-week process. It's the art of the deal. You got to get in there. You got to get your hands dirty.
I hate it.
Okay? You got to drive these people crazy. Because look, they need me more than I need them.
Correct. That is true. You are the aggressor here because especially you. Sometimes you don't have the power. Sometimes you need that car and they got it. But sometimes you're walking in there with, especially when you're leasing, you have a very well functioning car that you can just walk back to right now. Right.
You want to know how well functioning, sir? My last lease was a little over 2 years ago, just about 2 months short of 3 years. Okay. The total number of miles I rolled into that dealer with this week, Rich Craich, 8,000.
8,000.
8,000.
I have a car I bought 4 years ago that's got 63,000 on it. 8,000. I put 600. I put 600 on my car last weekend. I put 600 on this car going to and from French Lick, Indiana. I had 600 in one weekend. You in 3 years are at what, 8? What'd you say?
8,000. You want to talk equity on a lease, sir? Okay. They need me more than I need them. How many other car dealers you got in your town? Right? How many other car dealers would be salivating at the thought of that 2021 Mazda CX-5 with 8,000 miles on it? Huh?
Yeah, that's good, especially in this current used car sale market. That's gonna be a pretty penny.
They're gonna sell that fucker for $22,000, $23,000.
Yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy that car tomorrow. If I rolled into a dealership and there was an 8,000, a 2021 with 8,000 miles, I'd probably buy that thing for sure.
I said, Brittany, I'm gonna go turn in my lease early. She goes, Joe, the car still has the new car smell. She's like, I love driving your car because it still has the new car smell. I'm like
the owner's manual still in the plastic. You know what I mean? It hasn't been touched.
8,000 miles.
It's in the sleeve. It's in the Velcro sleeve in the plastic in the Velcro sleeve. There's like the little Velcro thing that's got the Mazda logo on it. Then you have to Velcro that out, and then there's the owner's manual there. But when you get it new, it's in that plastic sleeve, and you throw that thing out. The first time you probably still have the thing in the fucking sleeve.
I don't know if I ever even touched the thing, but
you don't strike me as a guy who thumbs through his car's owner manual very often either. Even if you had a car that had 100,000 miles, I don't think you're going, huh.
Well, I would never have. Listen,
let's see what's going on here.
I would never have that. See, I know that I'm not exactly Mr. Goodwrench. I can't do anything on a car, literally anything, which is why it's smart for me just to lease a car and then bring it back when it's got 8,000 miles and still smells like the new car smell. See, that I have to operate that way because I can't do anything with a vehicle. I'm completely useless. Okay. So
once that thing needs new spark plugs, you bring it back. You get a new car.
Yeah. They give
oil
me the
change.
2 free
I'm good. I'll just tear in my lease. It's fine.
No. They give me the 2 free services.
Yeah. You use those and then you're done.
I don't even use the second one. I don't get to it. Like I used the first one, right? And then it's like I wasn't even due for the second one yet. I brought it in for the first one, and they're like, "We're not even going to rotate these tires." I'm like, "Okay." There's no point. One oil change.
Alignment, perfectly fine. Actually, 100% good. Unbelievable.
Everything.
Yeah.
So that's my point. I roll into this dealer with a 2021 with 8,000 miles on it that still smells like it's new because I take care of I bring the kids down the garage. I'm like, this is why you take care of your things. It's a good lesson to teach them. I'm bringing this car back with full equity, with all kinds of equity, right? So now all the power's in my hands, right? And see the dealer down there, Travis, he knows me because I deal with him every time.
See if they'll sponsor the show. I'd love to plug them on the show in the future. Next time you get in there, can you strong arm Travis into getting a little sponsorship deal here on the flagship?
Listen, he's a savvy negotiator. He's good. That's why it's fun. We lock horns like rams. Okay. I bought my wife's car from him. I always deal with my leases with him. And he knows. I walked in there. First, I'm dealing with Ken.
Oh, no time for Ken.
No. Ken's a nice guy. Ken's only flaw is he's a 49er fan. So, there was some playful banter, believe me. But, I took the test drive with Ken. He handled the early parts of the negotiations, but listen, once Travis spotted me, he comes in the office and goes, Ken, I know this guy. You're going to have to let me handle this guy. Because Travis knows we're going to skip the early formalities because he knows Joe Lanza's no mark. At this point, he understands. So I don't even get those initial awful offers anymore. He even knows what my terms are when I walk in. I'm not going to say my terms on the air. You know, nobody's money is anybody's business, but he knows my terms. He remembers them because I've dealt with him so much. And he knows I want those same terms every time. And all the power's in my hands. Ken's like, Joe, is your credit still good? I'm like, of course my credit's still good.
What else have I bought? What have I bought, Travis?
He's like,
what do you think I've done since the last time you saw me, Travis? Nothing.
He's like, I take your word for it, but you know we're going to have to run it. I'm like, listen, you don't run my credit. My credit runs you. You go ahead and run it, and you come back with that 800, okay? And we're going to do things my way. These guys love me. They get a kick out of me. It's Joe Lanzaday down at the dealership.
Mayor of Sexy Town in the Note of Chat Room calls you Carfax Jones over here. I love that. That's good. Carfax Jones.
Let me tell you something. You walk in with that credit score, you walk in with that kind of equity, they don't want you to leave that lot. They know I can go to any other dealer, you know, with this pristine vehicle and my pristine credit score. So it almost becomes too easy. It's almost like a duel, except I get a 1 second head start on turning around. You know what I mean? It's almost too easy, Craich. But I love it. I love the art of the deal. I love sliding that piece of paper back with a little chuckle. Nah, you know my terms. You know the other move I like? The other move I like, and this is why I don't like TLB being with me. First of all, she doesn't like being with me because she just rolls her eyes the whole time.
Yeah, it sounds awful. It sounds absolutely deplorable. Yeah, my strategy is not necessarily to get the worst deal or I get intimidated. I just want to leave. I just don't want this process to take the 7 hours I know it's going to take. So I just kind of want it to end.
No, you got to get the deal.
No, I don't. I'd rather just pay more and then get the fuck out of there. My life is
so the
valuable.
We got money bags Jones over here.
I probably have left a lot of money on the table.
Rich,
I just really want to leave. I just really want to leave.
Rich, I'm buying a Mazda, not a BMW. Okay, I can't just take your tact and just spend whatever.
Oh, with my Volkswagen, yeah.
Okay,
my post class action lawsuit Volkswagen, yeah. It was a real tough deal.
Just because you have a late model German vehicle in your driveway doesn't mean I'm in that tax bracket. Okay, pal. So I got to do what I got to do for my Mazda. Moneybag Jones over here with the dueling Volkswagens in the driveway. Yuppie Craich over here. So anyway, I don't like having TLB with me because then one of my favorite moves is I'll start rubbing the back of my neck. I'm like, you know what? I
don't know, Travis. This one's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
You're looking at the paper. You're like,
yeah. I'm like, I got to talk to the wife. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Can I take this home with me? Because I know the answer is no. They don't like you taking that home.
No. Because then you're just going to walk into another dealership with it.
Right. I'm like, all right, well then I let me call the wife, so I go outside.
That gimmick kind of works. I did this the last time I bought my car. Is that if you go to CarMax, have you ever gone to CarMax to try to get
we have a CarMax in town, yeah.
Yeah, so if you go there, they will give you a estimate on your car. They'll do like online estimates. So you take a bunch of pictures of your car. This is the worst beginning of our podcast ever. I can't believe people are still listening. You take a picture of your car. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in your driveway or whatever. You take a picture of your car. You send it to them. They give you pre-approved, like, oh, okay, we're going to give you X amount for your trade-in or whatever. And they'll also give you, like, offers on cars or whatever. So I took that piece of paper and that email that they sent me, printed it out, and then I just went to a bunch of dealerships with that and said, well, CarMax is going to give me X for this if you guys want to give me this exact figure. And they did. It worked out pretty well for me. So that is another strategy you can employ.
That's a good tactic.
Because I'm trying to do the least amount of dealing. Like, you want the most dealing. Yeah. You want the gunslinger. I was like, here you go. I have a whole thing. Just give me this. Like, give me this right now.
Yeah.
Like, this price works. That part works. Just give this. Like, dude, just everything that I just handed you on this piece of paper. Let's do it. And I'm going to get out of here. Give me the car. Here's what I'm going to pay. Let me please leave. I got to go. And then, even then, it's the rigmarole. They're like, oh, 1 sec, let me get my manager. Oh, my God, just come on, let's go. And then finance guy after finance guy, and we got this guy. It's a disaster. But yeah, what your tactic is, I got to call the wife.
Well, that's one of them. Yeah, I'll start rubbing the back of my neck, and I'll say, all right, let me call the wife, and I'll walk outside, and then I'll perpetrate like I'm calling the wife, right? But I'm not calling her. Like, she don't know nothing. She has nothing to do with it. So Then I'll do the pace outside with the phone on my head.
You got to be. It's kind of hard. Are you good at it? Are you good at faking that you're on the phone?
I'm so good at it.
All right.
I'm so good.
Because a lot of people think they're good at it, but they're not.
I'm making the hand gestures, you know. I have the hand in the pocket, the pacing, the staring in the windows of the cars.
See, you need to if you took up smoking, that would even add more to it. Like, you don't smoke, and Travis knows you don't smoke, but that would add another whole little element to it. You know what I mean? Where you're ripping a cig and you throw it on the ground, type of thing. They could tell from the way that you're smoking that you're kind of, getting a little heated, getting a little angry, hands moving, that sort of stuff. But
and the last thing they want you to do is say, you know what, I'm going to go home and think about it. Because then people don't come back. So you got to pull that tactic too. You know what, let me sleep on. Nah, they're going to do everything they can to get you to make that deal. Now, this time I was a little under the gun because they had a deal going that ended at the end of April. Right? So they kind of had me by the balls a little if I wanted to get this deal. Right?
You think Travis knew that? You think Travis knew that?
No, he knew.
So he cracked the
mentioned it many
knuckles?
times. Believe me.
He's like, I got you. I got one on you.
He's like, remember, you want that $2,000 rebate? We got to wrap this up by close of business on the 30th. And so they kind of had me there.
Nice play, Travis. Nice play, Travis.
Nice play. Well played. I told you he's good. We lock horns. But see, the advantage I had is it's not like my lease was up. This wasn't a situation where I had to leave the keys and leave. My lease wasn't up till August. So I had that. I was like, look, I could always come back in August, and I could just drop off the keys and wipe my hands of this whole deal. So we both had advantages here. I'm not happy with the current interest rates,
Yeah.
Do people still say thanks, Obama, or is that like
I think we're past that. But yeah, we got some. Yeah.
Not happy with these current interest rates.
Get a CD. Get a CD. Then you'll be happy with them.
Okay. But at the end of the day, you get the deal you want. I'm like, look, I'm not putting this amount down. I'm firm on this number. You know what he comes back with? He goes, Joe, how about you put nothing down?
Okay.
Whoa. Now you're speaking my language. Show me the paper. Show me the paper with nothing down. Right? See, that's why you got to stress.
No money down.
This guy Dalton. Well, listen, when you walk in with the 800, Rich, listen, this Dalton guy in the chat, my lease was done 100% online in almost no time, no chance for negotiation, sparring, just went and picked up the car a couple days later. Here's the problem, Dalton. I guarantee you could have got a better deal if you walked in there, shook a man's hand, stared him in the eyes, and went mano a mano. But
that would have taken 9 hours. Dalton's got better things to do with his time. Like, listen to us.
Well, I could have saved Dalton like $40 a month on his payment if he'd let me go in there with him. Who knows what I could have saved Dalton?
This is now you sound like you're doing a pitch for like a Patreon tier where you help people negotiate car leases. But not a bad idea. Something to think about for the future. Entertainment purposes only, obviously, but something to think about.
Listen,
so it worked out. You got the no money down?
I got the deal I want.
You got the no money down?
Listen, I don't like to brag, but you go in there with the perfect credit. You go in there with the 800 plus. You got that kind of equity. Listen, Travis walks in. Ken goes, he only put 8,000 miles on the car. Travis goes, oh, per year. Oh, so what we're 24,000. He's like, no. He only put 8,000 miles.
You're a grandmother. You're a grandmother with your car.
Yeah. And he looks at me and he goes, no fucking way. No fucking way. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I've never seen that in my life. I'm like, well, and that's exactly what he said. He's like, you drive like my grandfather.
Yes. Yeah. He drives to IHOP once a week. He goes to church and to IHOP once a week. And that's the type of mileage you have.
I'm like, what do you want? It's a small town. Where am I going? I drive it every single day. It's a small town. There's schools up the block. Groceries. What else am I doing?
Wings, getting wings. I guess the wings are pretty close too.
The wings? Gotta go get the wings. So another brand new car in the
there you go. Yeah, you're not a road tripper. You're not a road tripper, so I guess that.
No, well, we have the wife's. Listen, long trip.
She's okay. That's right. That's right.
I'm going. We take the wife's car. That's the one with all the miles on it. I have to have a new car because I'm an idiot. I can't do anything. I can't have belts going and fucking
serpentine belts. I mean? You can't have a serpentine belt go.
I can't have that. I get my
check
one
engine
free
light,
service a
forget
year.
it. Spark plugs,
Yeah, so
forget it. Yeah.
These short-term leases are perfect for me. I get my one free service when I need the oil change that I need. And then if anything goes wrong, I'm still covered under the fucking warranty before the lease is up. You see what I'm saying? So for someone like me who can't do anything with a vehicle, this is the economical way to go.
There you go.
Now I'm in a perpetual loop of paying the fucking lease every month. I don't ever get that luxury at the end of where you don't have a.
Yeah, but then by the time you pay it off, you're
now you gotta fix it every 10 minutes.
Yeah,
by
you're
the
bored
time
of the
you pay it
car.
off.
Yeah, you're bored of the car at that time. You got to fix it a
That's the
lot.
other
Yeah,
thing. That's true. You're bored of the car, and then that's when all the fucking belts and hoses start to go. So what are you really saving? So we'll have this same conversation again in 3 years. I think we
can't
have it
wait.
every 3 years.
We'll see if I have a new car.
I think every
by then
3
either.
years we open the show with this. You could probably look back 3 years.
I think it's been longer. I think we missed one because there was a lot of people that didn't know about your proclivity for car dealership negotiations. So I thought it may have been 6 years since the last time we did it. That seems more comfortable because it's like a lot of people listening. I think there are a lot of people that were commenting were relatively new, maybe last 2-3 year listeners. So yeah, I could see a lot of people.
New listeners.
So I just want to make sure that people knew, especially in our Discord, voicesofwrestling.com/Discord, that a lot of people were like, "What? You like going to a car dealership?" And I'm like, "Oh God, he loves it."
I love going to the car dealership.
Love is an understatement. He because you were like not active earlier this week and you weren't like posting anywhere and you're like, busy. I got stuff to do. I'm doing the car dealership thing. It's like you're out.
Yeah,
like, you don't do anything. You don't do shit. That's it.
No, I wake up in the morning. I head down to the dealer. I crack my knuckles and then it's go time. It's go time.
Are you drinking anything here? Are you like doing any power moves with like a cup of water or anything like that? Or
oh, they got the complimentary beverages and
I was wondering, do you do a power play that way where you get up and go fill up, because you're not a coffee drinker. Because you can kind of power play with the coffee, similar to like an interrogation, but
I don't do the coffee. I'll throw a Coke Z in my pocket and I'll head down to the dealer. And, I'll finish the one. Then I got another one at the ready. And, they got the complimentary beverages and snacks. I get to know everybody. It's like, it's,
the lady at the front desk, Julie at the front desk. Hey, how you doing, Julie? Hey,
yeah,
Joe.
Absolutely. She's like, oh, you're here for Ken. Yep. She calls him on the gimmick. Ken to the front desk. I'm like, I know where his office is. I'll
find him. Yeah. I'll find him. Yeah.
I know where he's at. Don't worry.
Because so Travis is the closer. Ken's the front facer, and then Travis is the closer.
Travis is over his head. He's
okay, so Travis doesn't walk out to you initially. Travis has to be called to help.
No. Like he recognizes me and comes in.
But like normally, if you were a random person, you wouldn't see Travis unless you needed to see Travis, right?
I wouldn't see him unless the dealer was like, "This guy's a pain in the balls."
Right. If Ken's like, I can't make headway with this guy, then they would call in Travis.
Right. So then they'll call him in.
Travis
he noticed me.
Travis or he'll go to his office. He'll walk over to Travis's office, and then Travis walks up.
Yeah, because I saw him and I said, "Oh, there's
tightens the tie." Tightens his little.
Yes.
Is he wearing? I assume he's in a bolo tie. I know he's not in a bolo tie. But it's either is it a thin tie? He seems like a thin tie guy, Travis.
No tie, no ties.
No tie. We're casual, rolling our sleeves up at this place.
Casual.
Oh wow,
it's like business casual.
Oh wow, wow.
So they could Dockers with the tucked in. Yeah,
interesting. Interesting. Does he roll up the sleeves as a power move too?
He may have had them rolled up. Yeah, he may have.
Oh wow, yeah.
He had the Zin tucked in his lip. He had the Zin.
Oh, but wow, that's energy. I like it.
He's like, I need a Zin for this guy. No, but
coming in with the snus. I like it. Okay.
I said to Ken, is Travis around? He's like, oh, he goes, Travis saw you. He remembers you. Yeah, he'll be in. So but there's a manager above him that I have never dealt with, but yeah. So he comes, but I make sure that Ken gets his taste.
Okay, you let Ken have some fun. Maybe so then he could take it and use it against other people.
Like he gets his taste once I make the deal. I make sure it's Ken that gets the taste, not the other.
Oh,
guy,
I see. Okay.
So it's like, listen, you're getting a taste, right? And he's like, yeah. I get my. I'm like, all right, that's all I'm concerned with here because that's not right, Because if he's not getting his taste, well then Travis can get out there and I could drive around the block with him in the car. That's
right.
I know the route now too that they tell you to, like, they don't have to tell me the route.
You're like, I got it.
I'm like, I know. Yeah, right at the light. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. You know, we talked about the NFL draft, me and Ken. He's a 49er fan. We were shitting on the Seahawks and you know, bantering it up. Bringing up old bad memories to each other. You know, little zingers.
There you go.
So it's a lot of fun. I mixed it up. I said to them too, I said, look, can I at least get a different color so I feel like I'm getting something new? So I can have some excitement out of this. Because I got the same fucking car. You know, so I did switch my color up. New car smell starting all over again.
That's pretty good. I do like the new car smell.
They had they give you, so there's mats, there's floor mats, and then they have like alternate like cloth mats that come with the car too that are in plastic, like in the back.
Yeah.
My last one still had those in the plastic.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
I never unwrapped like the cloth fucking mats or whatever the fuck they were. Like, what the fuck is this? I don't need this shit, you know? So.
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. There's the Joe Lanza car story. We'll tell it in 3 years or 6 years. If we forget after 3, we'll definitely cover it in 6 years. But we are going to talk some wrestling this week as well. Do not worry, we're not just going to talk about Joe's car negotiations.
Listen, anyone, you fly me in, I'll negotiate your car deal for you because I love it. I love it.
You do. You have offered to do it for me. Last time I bought a car, you were like, "Rich, let me do it for you. Let me." I was like, "No, I'm good.
Please.
I'm good." Yeah.
You know, I have to be privy to your finances if anyone wants to use me for these services.
Yeah,
you got to be comfortable with that. But I'd love to get in there.
There was a guy in the chair. Let me see. He was from Saskatoon, which not that close to Winnipeg, I don't think. So I think because I know you're not going to Winnipeg ever, but how much does it cost to ship a car to Saskatoon from Texas? Well, I want Joe to do my negotiation for me, or
I'm not fucking
you can go
with,
to
I'm not
Saskatoon.
Fucking with Canadians. I'm not fucking with Canadian. I don't know Canadian laws. I don't know fucking Canadian. What, they got dollars up there? I don't fucking know. I'm not dealing with Canadians. But if you're in the U.S., you know, I would love to negotiate someone's car deal for them. I love that shit. You know, the other thing I love doing, I love doing taxes.
Oh,
like
Still?
Now look, I don't.
Still?
No,
I was going to say recently.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I used to like taxes too.
Let me
when
clarify.
I would get a refund, I enjoyed taxes a lot. I don't like it anymore.
I like the process of the taxes and watching them develop. But ever since we started this game, I fucking hate tax
I do
season.
not like tax season anymore. Yeah.
I despise tax season. Bending me over a barrel every year. Let me tell you,
Mike Rotunda, man, he gets one over on us every April.
And then not only that, then a month later you get the letter in the mail from the IRS with the estimated tax shortage fine that I have to pay every year as well. So
the $48 extra dollars I had to give Mike Rotunda every single year. Too,
mine's 197 this year. Thank you very much. Yeah. So you know, and
thanks, Captain
then
Mike.
last year
Captain Mike.
Last year I spent 6 hours on the phone fighting it. That went nowhere. And then I'm like, you know what? It's 148. I'm just gonna fucking send it to you, even if you're wrong. I don't care anymore. I think that's why they are so difficult on the phone.
Yes, precisely what they're going for.
Right.
So you're not an art of the deal man when it deals with Erwin R. Shyster, but you are an art of the deal man with Travis.
Government's a little trickier.
Yeah.
Government's a little trickier. Yeah. They just because they'll just make up some code or law. They're like, oh, well, if you look at paragraph 6.c. And you're like, all right, fuck this. Why am I've put too much time into saving this $197. Just where do I send it? You know, but you believe me, they're getting it the day it's due because I'm not giving them.
Oh, I'm a tax day guy. I used to always laugh about that where I'm like, tax day, who cares? You know, because I would get it done in like January. You know what I mean? Like back in the olden days, I'd get that thing done as soon as possible. You know, wipe my hands of it. I'm good.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. And then you know, but now it's like April 15th. All right.
No, fuck that.
I'll pay you on April 15th.
Getting
I'll pay you on April 15th, guys.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah, they're making interest on that money. They're not making a penny extra than they have to.
No.
They're getting it day of.
So there you go.
That we need to cut out before government hears it.
No, we're fine. We pay on the day. I'm not paying my taxes. I'm just paying it on the day of. So
you do pay.
Yeah, I always pay.
I mean, both of our returns look like dumpster fires with all this fucking shit, but I don't know how the hell we don't get flagged.
It is what it is.
It'll happen to you, not me. That
For sure.
That's your luck.
100%.
You're the one that'll get the audit.
100%.
You're getting the audit.
Happen to me, yeah.
No doubt about it.
TurboTax assures me that I am audit free. They do their little
They
check.
tell me that every year.
Little
They
green
say
arrow.
low risk every
I
year,
get the
right?
little green arrow, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, the meter says, "Oh, you're low risk,"
and I'm like,
how?
yeah. I'm like, I'm not.
What?
There's no way. I'm looking at
How
this
on
thing,
earth
and it's a
am I
mess.
low risk?
It's a mess. There's no way. So
I'm making up LLCs on the fly. Like, how am I low risk?
must be some real high risk out there. Okay, we have to talk about some wrestling at some point. We've gotten to taxes, even worse topic, especially to have in early May. But yes, we are going to talk a lot of wrestling, kind of a classic spray to all fields episode of the Flagship here. We're back full 3 hours, back on Thursday for the first time in a while. You are getting everything here. You are getting us talking about the Elite and their heel authority program in AEW, Tony Khan's neck brace. People wanted us to talk about that stuff, so we will touch on that a little bit. A preview of WWE Backlash France. I did that on Flagship Plus this week over at flagshippatreon.com. But Joe, this card is so fucking terrible, and I think the world needs to know about this. We've been up front and center about how bad these Paul Levesque pay-per-views are. We can't let this one slide. Like, we're going to review it next week, but I cannot let this thing slide on a preview. We need the totality of the free Flagship audience to know about this Backlash France show, because this show is dog shit. It is horrible. I have not seen a worse on-paper show in a very long time that's being presented as a pay-per-view or a premium live event or whatever the fuck it's being, this show's awful. So we have to talk about that. Speaking of awful shows, TripleMania Monterrey, the world of AAA. I have watched the show. You have watched the show. We are going to absolutely eviscerate this show. I cannot imagine you enjoyed this show. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out.
How do you know I didn't? How do you know I didn't like it?
I guess you know what? You're right. I don't know that you didn't like it. So I will eviscerate the show, and I don't know what Joe's going to say about TripleMania Monterrey, but we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll preview New Japan Pro Wrestling's upcoming Wrestling Dontaku shows, catch you up on All Japan's Champion Carnival, and if time permits, a little bit about Dragon Gate Dead or Alive 2024. Time might not permit there, but we are definitely going to review the show next week. We will definitely watch Dead or Alive next week. So time might not permit for that. Dragon Gate unfortunately before today. I think Dragon Gate was locked in. We were going to talk Dragon Gate for sure, but we do have to start off this show with what to me is the biggest news of the day, and that is John Laurinaitis siding with Vince McMahon in the Janelle Grant lawsuit. So if you're initially claiming that he was a victim and that Grant's lawyer Ann Callis should remove him from the lawsuit, John Laurinaitis has officially turned. A new statement from Laurinaitis' attorney, Edward Brennan. Quote, John Laurinaitis has followed a motion today fully joining in and adopting Vince McMahon's motion to compel arbitration. Mr. Laurinaitis corroborates Mr. McMahon in publicly declaring Mrs. Grant's allegations of sexual abuse and coercion in her complaint are completely unfounded. My client will fight these false allegations together with Mr. McMahon in the proper forum, arbitration. Now, obviously, this quote is very different because his lawyer said this about a month or so ago. Quote, I anticipate she and Callis will ultimately see that Mr. Laurinaitis is, like her client, a victim in this case, and Judge Callis will do the right thing and dismiss my client from this lawsuit. So obviously, Laurinaitis has completely flipped now. Now he is corroborating Mr. McMahon in that all these allegations of sexual abuse and coercion are completely unfounded, and he will fight these false allegations together with Mr. McMahon in arbitration. So Johnny Ace has flipped and siding with Mr. McMahon now. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, it's really wacky how our justice system works. You would think that at some point, whether this goes to an arbitration for a settlement or whether this goes to court,
it should matter that you said it's one thing, and now you're saying another thing.
But apparently it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's crazy. It's like you just come up. Your lawyer's job is to just come up with the best defense possible, no matter what that is. And they obviously changed their mind on what the best course of action for Laurinaitis is. Maybe they feel like that a settlement is likely. Maybe they have reason to believe that. Now, the way that McMahon's lawyers are sniping with Grant's lawyers, you sure don't get the sense that they feel like this is headed towards a settlement. Grant's lawyers insist that they're not going to seek a settlement, but I think
that's what a lawyer should
that.
say. Yeah, that's what a lawyer in this case would say, is that I don't want a settlement, I don't want a settlement, just so that ultimately you get the biggest settlement possible. And that's, we should make that, we're obviously not experts of law or anything like that, but a lawyer's duty to their client is to get them as big of a settlement as possible. Not to, the flagship and listeners to our show are like, would be really, good to get this corporate, this culture of awful corporate behavior and Vince McMahon's years of abuse, like alleged abuse or whatever. It'd be really nice to tackle those. We want that. Obviously we want that. But, from a lawyer standpoint, that's not their duty. Their duty is to get the biggest settlement possible or to do right by their client, depending on what their client wants. And in this case, we don't know, but it behooves them to continue to say we don't want to settle, because eventually they want the biggest settlement possible in this case. So that's not them being bad. That's just what you do in this in the court of law. You know what I mean? Like, that's their duty, unless Janelle Grant is fully 100% committed to fighting this tooth and nail and fighting this entirely. We don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, you probably should think that at the end of the day that it probably just ends with some massive settlement.
Yeah, well, they most often do, because you run the risk of losing if you go to court and getting nothing. Because remember, this is not a criminal case. Now, there might be a criminal case coming later, but this is not a criminal case. So I guess the Laurinaitis lawyer, who is not the same as the McMahon lawyer.
No, Edward Brennan is the Laurinaitis attorney, and Jessica T. Rosenberg is Vince's attorney. And she had a quote a little bit later. Do you want me to read that quote now?
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
So this was sent to WrestleNomics, which is pretty cool that WrestleNomics is getting sent things from these lawyers. Like, they obviously realize that, like, WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling and a few websites are actually doing work with this. And instead of just sending them stuff, it's so great that, like, they're just completely cut out. Like, the Observers getting nothing, the PW Insiders getting nothing. It's just like,
well, listen, those places obviously aren't doing the work and pursuing it either.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's good. That, to me, that's good. It's a credit to the work that Brandon's been doing at WrestleNomics, and what John Pollock in particular has been doing at Post Wrestling, is that they're now getting the lawyers are talking to them directly, just sending them direct messages, which is exactly shows that they're the ones covering it and the ones really doing the work there. But Vince McMahon's attorney, Jessica T. Rosenberg, sent this statement to WrestleNomics. Quote, in January 2024, Miss Grant, a 43-year-old with a law degree who was in love with Mr. McMahon and devastated by the breakup, filed an outrageous and false lawsuit to ruin Mr. McMahon's career and reputation. Now her false allegations are slowly unraveling. Today, Mr. Laurinaitis' attorney confirmed his client will corroborate Mr. McMahon's account and expose the lies within the complaint. Despite their intense efforts, Miss Grant's attorneys won't be able to suppress the truth from coming out. So we've talked about this a little bit too. The McMahon attorneys are in full-on, like,
attack mode.
Miss Grant, a 43-year-old with a law degree who was in love with Mr. McMahon and devastated by their breakup, is how they start that statement.
Well, why? Okay, and that's so, the framing of her is not this innocent young girl who was manipulated and everything. They're saying this is a middle-aged woman with a full-on career and law degree. And the law degree part is important too, because of she alleges that McMahon was just giving her fake positions in the company where she wasn't expected to do anything, and this is framing it in a way where, like, no, look, this person has a law degree and they were in their 40s and this was a grown adult who, this is all setups for what's coming down the line. You have to frame the people involved a certain way. That's what that is.
Right. Yeah, so it's very, very careful wording there with, this is an older woman who has a law degree, in love with McMahon, devastated by the breakup, all that sort of stuff, to try to paint, obviously Janelle.
Far cry from this vulnerable young girl who was taken advantage of. But that's the whole point.
And given fake jobs and all that stuff. She is an old woman, an older adult woman with a law degree. So yeah, she was, well qualified and all this sort of. So yeah, it's
the false allegations are slowly unraveling. Well, according to who? Like, but you can say that. It's like I don't think that's true. Like, what exactly is unraveling? But again, these are just a lot of this is part of this is the PR aspect of it,
Right.
And McMahon hired, one of the top PR agencies and the same PR agency that Harvey Weinstein was using, and I think still is using, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of where partially where the Tony Khan quote came from, so a lot of this too is the fight for public perception at this stage of something like this. But yeah, it's interesting how Laurinaitis' tune changed. It's interesting how our system works, where you can just do that. And I guess claiming you were a victim a month ago is just, that doesn't. It's just astounding to me that that doesn't matter.
That wouldn't come up like that. Like it shouldn't invalidate your case immediately if you say, yeah, I was a victim. Actually, no, I'm not a victim anymore. Now that I didn't get removed from the lawsuit and I didn't get my way, I'm actually not a victim anymore. And none of those things that I said I was forced to do were true, and I didn't do any of them. And because essentially his initial case was, allegedly I was forced to, sexually assault
just
this
her,
woman.
I was a victim.
Yeah, Vince McMahon forced me to sexually assault that woman, and that's why I'm going to join along, and I'm a victim. And now it's like, oh, sexual assault? No, that never happened. None of that happened. It's like, what?
Now everything she's alleging is false.
Yeah,
now,
what's
I don't look, again, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you can just do that. But
you can.
It's crazy.
Cool system. But
that's the next step. And if it wasn't for places like WrestleNomics, we wouldn't even have this information, because like you said, nobody else is digging in. The mainstream media has kind of thrown their hands. They're not really interested in this story anymore, at least until something else salacious comes up. So when it comes to these stories that come up in the interim, thankfully there are a couple of outlets in the wrestling media space that are on top of it and are still reporting on it and pursuing it.
So there you go. That's the latest there with that lawsuit. We'll stick in the world of WWE because there's a lot of quick hit stuff that going on in that company. According to WWE sources, The Rock is always on time, but not according to other sources, because TheWrap.com had an article this week about The Rock's tardiness for both WrestleMania 40 and one of his latest projects, Red 1. It says, quote, insiders told The Wrap that Johnson showed up as much as 8 hours late to set on the movie, forcing the crew to shoot around him on some days. The article also claimed that The Rock showed up 3 hours late for his match at WrestleMania 40, the tag match that he had on night one. Quote, earlier this month, he was 3 hours late arriving ahead of his main event match at WrestleMania 40. Two insiders told The Wrap. Now, this was then followed up by WWE sources saying that, quote, traffic in Philadelphia and other commitments accounted for the lateness. And then they also released an official statement from, who else? WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and Head of Communications, Chris Legentil, flagship star of recent vintage, says, quote, Dwayne was not only on time for WrestleMania, he was hours early to help with rehearsal. A pleasure to work with throughout the entire run. He also saved several puppies from a burning building as well. That I added that part at the end. But
so the one solitary positive quote regarding Dwayne Johnson and his tardiness issues and behavior on the set, pissing in water bottles and everything else, giving cushy jobs to his brother-in-law or ex-brother-in-law. The one and only positive quote in the entire piece came from Chris Legentil.
Yeah. But with the name on there, I mean, with for the record,
with the name on there.
Put the name on there.
Everyone under the sun, from Ryan Reynolds to unnamed sources in the just buried this guy for his unprofessional behavior. Now, I want people to note this because it's relevant to what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks and relevant to our audience. WWE sources, uncited, stated that, quote, traffic in Philadelphia and other commitments accounted for the lateness, end quote. So, uncited WWE sources admit that Johnson was in fact late.
Right. They don't. They have an excuse for it at least, but they do admit that he was late.
They admit it, and they have to because he's people recorded on their phones when he showed up to that one pre-WrestleMania event late, and he was in his heel persona and healed on the crowd and said, The Rock shows up for things when The Rock wants to show up. Yeah, so they couldn't deny that one because that one was already public and had been public for a number of weeks. And uncited WWE sources copped to that one and gave an excuse. And then the very next paragraph in the story is Dwayne was not only on time for WrestleMania, he was hours early to help with the rehearsal and a pleasure to work with throughout the entire run. Quoted and cited to Chris Legento. Okay? Notice the game that's being played here. Legento's more than happy to put his name on the positive quote because Dwayne's going to read this. Okay? Well, who the hell you think you gave him the other quote?
Those are in back-to-back paragraphs, by the way. They're in back-to-back paragraphs, by the way.
Back-to-back paragraphs. Who do you think the other quote, who do you think the WWE source was who gave them the negative quote and made the excuses for him being late the day before? It's obviously the same fucking guy. And if it's not Legento, it's someone on his team. And this is more proof that they do what I say they do. Don't put my name on that. This has to be on background. Oh, but this positive quote? All right, you can go ahead and put my name on that one. This is the games they play. This is what a top of the industry PR, this is how they operate. It's more than likely those two quotes came from the same person. But even if they both didn't come from Legento, they both came from WWE, and Legento is in charge of the PR. So it's essentially from the same source. The negative one, don't put my name on that one. The positive one, it's LEG
right.
EN. Right. Because
What's
Dwayne's going to read that one.
WWE Executive Vice President of Televisions and Head of Communications. Thanks. Thanks, buddy.
Here's my wordy title. Right. No. LEG.
Yeah.
Right.
LEG. Yeah. ENTIL. T as in Tom.
Right.
IL. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, not a good look for Dwayne. Really a pretty nasty hit piece by the Raptor.
It really was. Yeah, I'm just covering the wrestling aspects of it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff about the Red One, about that project, and him just being so late and costing everybody money, and he's pissing in bottles, and he's making people carry the bottles of piss all around. Like, it's at the Wrap if you want to read it. It does not put him in a maybe somebody needs to apologize to Vin Diesel a little bit if some of this stuff is true. Everybody was like, Vin Diesel, what does he know? And it's like, oh, hold on a minute, wait a minute, hold on.
Oh, they don't like each other either.
That's why the whole thing broke up. So, that's why there's two different. Like, I don't know anything about the Fast universe or whatever, but I think that's why the Fast universe had a fracture because Vin Diesel was like, fuck this guy,
won't work with the guy anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they said Ryan Reynolds was just irate at the guy because he'd leave him waiting around 8 hours to fucking shoot scenes. You know?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds got shit to do. Busy guy.
It's what was the other funny thing about the article was he's not just pissing in water bottles to save time. It's specified that he's pissing in Voss water bottles.
Which is a good, and you're a man who knows about pissing in bottles. That's a pretty good bottle to piss in, though.
Listen. The Rock could not be caught drinking great value bottled water. Okay, it's got to be Voss.
He's not Aquafina.
He's not an Aquafina guy. He's not getting the Aquafina out of the Pepsi machine on the way to the set.
Right. Put his quarters in. He's got his little quarter. Ching, ching, ching.
This machine won't take the Rock's dollar bill. It's like rejecting the dollar.
Right.
Like, that's not happening.
God damn it.
Okay.
Right.
This guy is running some assistant off.
Yeah, he's not hitting 1-1-2 and waiting for the little thing because they had the new things are great. Have you ever seen the new ones? It's like the little elevator that comes out and grabs it so it doesn't get stuck.
Yeah.
So The Rock says, I want
that's right.
Aquafina 1-1-2, you know. Beep, beep, beep.
Not a chance. No.
It goes down.
No. He's sending that ex-brother-in-law of his out to get him a case of Voss.
Yeah.
You know, at $6 a bottle. That's what he's with the wide mouth, you know.
Which is good. It's good for pissing. I mean, the Gatorade bottles are the elite. The big Gatorade bottles, those are the go-to. The little Gatorade bottles, not as much because you can fill those up pretty quickly. The big time, like, what is it, 28 ounce, 32 ounces or whatever.
Yeah, you get the wide mouth. Yeah.
That's the way to go if you're trying to piss in a car or whatever.
Listen, for a guy like me, I need as wide a mouth as you can get on these bottles if I'm going to be pissing in a bottle. It's hard enough out here in the streets. But it's funny how it did specify Voss.
I like that. I like because it makes him come off like even more of a douchebag. You know what I mean? It's not like it's
exactly.
not like he pissed in water bottles. It was like, yeah, this fucker pissed in Voss water bottles because he's
absolutely.
He only had $7 in his pocket, but now he's spending $7 for a fucking bottle of Voss water,
right.
So you got to make it come across like an absolute fuck. Because it wouldn't be the same if it was like he was just pissing in water bottles. You'd be like, it leaves it ambiguous. But the Voss water, is perfect. So it's so good. Why does he just not get off set and piss? It can't be that. It's not that hard, right? Especially for a dude to just walk into the bathroom and piss, right?
Well, I love his excuse too. He's like, he's got those 3-hour workouts in the morning, so the Rock is very hydrated. He said the Rock is very hydrated.
I'd like to check that P and see if that's actually true. We can know they can know that. You know what I mean? There's those charts that show you where your hydration level is, depending on your pee color. So I'd like to,
if there's one thing I'm confident in is that he's doing the right things to take care of his body.
Oh, for sure. That pee is definitely almost clear, maybe tinges of yellow, but mostly clear, I would say.
On top of the, hormone replacement and
stop. Come on. He's just clanging and banging. You wake up at 6 a.m. and clang and bang, or 3 a.m.
That's all natural. That's all natural.
Cod,
all natural.
Clanging, banging. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
No, the billionaire Hollywood star surely isn't getting testosterone.
No,
the top of the line testosterone. No, you don't think so?
No, he looks like a very normal 52-year-old man. Are you kidding? that's
okay.
what
all right.
52-year-olds look like that. 52-year-olds gain muscle mass as they get older. That's just how it goes. It's fine.
True. That's true. They do get thicker, stronger, and more vascular
with age. Yeah,
that's well known that happens with age.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has the most powerful boners that he's ever had as well.
Oh yeah. And she'll love it too. Yeah, and she'll love it too. So.
Yeah, no,
but not Danny.
Not
Danny. She won't love it. Whoever he's.
Danny's not loving it anymore.
Whoever he's doinking now. I don't know who is he.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Who knows what he's doing?
Does he got time for it? Does he even have time for it? Between all that clanging and banging.
I mean, it's a lot of clanging and banging. It's a lot of. I don't know what he's doing.
Goosebumps.
In the 8 hours before
he's got to do this and get those goosebumps going. That takes a couple minutes. Those take a couple minutes to get going.
Yeah, he's got to chat it up and hang out with his good pal Vince McMahon. He's got to find time for that. So you can't. You got to squeeze in bro time with Vince. So I don't know if he has time for a relationship. He's got to make sure that Paul knows that Ava needs that job down in NXT. So we all know she stinks, but surely we have a speaking role for her, and we got there's a lot of things that he has to do. He's got to strong arm Levesque into keeping Ava around, and hang out with Vince, and get those 3-hour workouts in.
Get that tequila.
He's kind of it's right.
Got the tequila. Did you see? I believe this was posted earnestly, but I was just howling laughing that Joe Gacy, who helped him train for WrestleMania or whatever, I think he tweeted this out or something. He said, thank you to The Rock for the gift for helping him train for WrestleMania or whatever. And it was a bottle of The Rock's tequila. It's like, that doesn't count. You can't give somebody that's not a gift. He's probably got 100 bottles of those of his mid-ass tequila just sitting in his car. You know what I mean? Hey, here you go. That's what he gives to like the gardener or like the mailman. Hey, here you go, pal. Here you go. It's like that doesn't count. If it's your product, that's like me giving like my dad like a QR code of like the Patreon or whatever, and be like, there you go. Like that's not a gift.
Right.
It's not you're not gifting anybody that. Like that it's just made already and it's your product. You can't be like, hey, here you go, pal. Here's it's like a $30 bottle of tequila too. It's like, come on, man. Come on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, Dad, thanks
Joe
for
Coffee,
raising
not
me.
Joe Gacy. I said Joe Gacy. Joe Coffee, not Joe Gacy.
You're like, Dad, thanks for raising me. Thanks for everything. You made me the man that I am. Here is a copy of the 2016 New Japan Year in Review. This is special just for you.
Here's a flash drive with my 2006, the PDF of our year in review.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
Yes, you don't have to spend the $4.99 on Amazon. I know you've been eyeballing it.
I got it for you.
Web history, but listen, this is straight from me to you. At zero cost to me.
At zero cost to me. That it's not a gift.
At zero cost to me.
It's not a gift if it's zero cost to you. If you're just, and it's not even the thought that counts because it's just your fucking tequila. It's not even like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not even like I pulled some punches and I got a free bottle of this. It's like it's your tequila, buddy. You could probably.
No, he's advertising by giving that
Yes.
away is what he's doing.
Yes.
It's an ad. He's advertising.
Yes.
He's like, The Rock says there's more where that came from down at your local liquor store, right? That's.
I don't even know the name of it. I don't even know what it's called. I'm not a tequila guy, so
tequila.
it's got some Mexican. It's like Temecula or something like that. I don't know what the fuck it is, but
$7 tequila or
something like that. There is Zoa Energy. I do know about Zoa Energy because every time I drive home from work, there's a convenience store near me that has just a big cardboard cutout, like the biggest cardboard cutout you've ever seen of The Rock with his little dumb smile or whatever, holding a Zoa energy drink, and it just says Zoa on the side. I see it every day. Every time I drive by, Zoa. I see it every single time. It's.
I think it's here. It's called. It doesn't matter what it's called. Tequila. That's what it's called. That's what he should have went with.
That's what he should have went with.
Clever.
Yeah.
That's that's what it should say right on the label. It doesn't matter what it's called. Tequila.
Jordan Smith says The Rock handing out a used. It's too good. Oh god. All right. The Rock handing out a used on the border gift card with $1.73 left. The Rock says you can take this to on the border. Get yourself some guacamole. Thanks for helping The Rock. Get ready for WrestleMania. He gives it to the waiter, and the waiter's like, sir, the bill is now $21.45. God damn it. It's so good. The Rock says, you take that gift card and you go treat you and your little lady on a meal on The Rock's dime. It's $11.72 or whatever.
Yeah. He got it from like his aunt for Christmas. Used it once. You get the remnants. Oh my god.
It's so good. Also, speaking of The Rock, we got a lot of The Rock stuff here today. On this morning's Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that some unnamed people in WWE are not particularly fond of The Rock, crediting himself backstage about making WWE, quote, cool again. Quote, no one can say anything bad about him publicly, but there are people who are very resentful of him going like, quote, I came back and wrestling is cool after WWE had a tremendous year. And the idea that he's kind of trying to take credit for this resurgence that happened a year before he came back. So unnamed sources in WWE not too happy with The Rock claiming he helped make WWE cool again.
I mean, have they seen the ratings and the attendance since he's done? No, look, it definitely heated up before he got there. There's no question his presence lifted everything. I mean, we have tons of evidence to support that. They were already hot. But clearly, once he got there, he was the biggest star in the company. There's no doubt about that. They're not popping the kind of quarter hours they were popping when The Rock was around. They're not selling out every single building like they were when people knew The Rock was going to be there. In terms of him making it cool again, I mean, what are they all wound up about? He's a pro wrestler. He's the biggest star in pro wrestling, and that's the kind of things that star pro wrestlers say. It's I don't know. Whoever said that to me sounds like a big giant piss baby. That's what it sounds like to me. And it's probably another big star, because I don't think a mid-carder would say something like that. It's probably one of the other big stars who's a
big star, maybe annoyed. Somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody in the corporate ladder, possibly too,
maybe. Because I could see a big star being annoyed that this guy just slides in for WrestleMania season, because we've seen that in the past where they get annoyed at shit like that. But you can't realistically say that he didn't elevate things. I mean, that's just patently false.
Unquestionably he did. Yeah, unquestionably he did. Did he make the company cool again? Maybe not necessarily, but unquestionably moved them up a rung when you look at the attendance and the ratings and all that sort of stuff. No doubt about it.
And did he get them attention that they wouldn't have gotten? Yes.
And he helped him weather the storm of the McMahon thing, too, because do not forget the very, very, very perfect timing of him sliding in there right as the McMahon stuff was hitting its biggest point.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't want to speculate who might have said something like that, but my guess would be that it was a major star. For sure. I don't think that Otis would be popping off and saying something like that. I don't think that, fucking Toxic Attraction number 3 is going to give a quote like that.
You don't think Maxine Dupree is like, you know what? Had enough of this Dwayne Johnson guy coming in here and thinking he made this thing cool again. No.
Right. It's someone who is annoyed because they've been here the whole time during, the rise and the hot period. So it would really limit your candidates to who made a quote like that. But, it's, what are you going to do? He's the fucking Rock. He can waddle back into town whenever he wants.
Right.
And have that match with Cody. And it's the biggest match that they have on the table. And, oh, by the way, the second biggest match they have on the table is The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Right. He came in and in 3 months became the top star and created the top matches and your most anticipated matches all involve him. So, yeah.
When initially he got rejected, and within a week or two, he was the hottest star in the company and created the 2 hottest matches that the company can do moving forward, and wisely skedaddled because now it's like, and he's on the board anyway, but now it's like he can call his own shot now because everybody knows those are the 2 biggest matches they have. I don't even know what number 3 would be.
I don't think there is number 3. I see him Punk. Yeah,
back.
Punk and Drew maybe, or Punk and
Cody.
Yeah, or Punk and Cody, yeah.
Punk and Cody, easy. But I mean, because you did Cody Roman twice. You want to say Punk Roman maybe, but Roman, we have to see what they do with him when he comes back. When Roman comes back, he's going to be all mixed up with, bloodline stuff and whatever, happens there. And to be honest, I don't know. We'll see when Roman comes back. It feels like he's knocked down a peg without those titles. That was a big part of it. And ending that long title run. So I would say Punk Cody would be the 3rd biggest match they have. Then you start getting into Roman's potential matchups after that.
Sure.
People,
right.
Or Punk, Drew McIntyre or whatever. But I don't think that's like a super big match that's going to fill a stadium.
No. In terms of big matches, yeah. I think if you're talking about big fill a stadium, it's 2. It's maybe Punk Cody, but I think it's the 2 Rock ones. If you're talking about honestly fill a stadium type matches, it's the Rock and Roman, it's the Rock and Cody.
Someone's saying Rock and Punk. Well, yeah, but the thing is, Rock he doesn't have that many left. I mean, he's doing Cody, he's doing Roman. He'll probably do Cody in the stadium this year. He'll probably do Roman at WrestleMania one night. Yeah, if Rock wants to do more, then yes, Rock Punk is number 3.
Yeah, but he's 52 and he's not going to wrestle a bunch of times. So yeah, you got to have a hierarchy here of matches, and it's clear that
kind of setting aside those 2.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know that he wants to or physically can do a 3rd. Remember, all he did was a tag match. It was very gimmicky. And a lot of stalling and staring at each other and not a lot of bumps. So, I mean, I don't know. But I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. What's the next topic?
Next one here, real quickly. Where is the WrestleMania 40 documentary? Because during WrestleMania 40, WWE advertised and teased a documentary about the behind-the-scenes look. It was called WrestleMania 40, Behind the Curtain. They said it was coming Wednesday to their YouTube channel. Wednesday came, Wednesday went. The documentary never appeared. People kept saying, what the hell happened to this documentary that you guys said was going to appear? It was all about, Triple H sitting at the table being like, yeah, well, sometimes you got to evolve and you have to, make the best of a situation or whatever. It was all about how they kind of retcon the WrestleMania story and make it all work and do all these sort of stuff to make it get there. And you got to book this. You got The Rock coming in. You got Roman. You got Cody. You got to figure out how to make this all work. And they made it all work perfectly. And here's WrestleMania, and it is great, and it is wonderful, and it is the best thing ever. It never came. PW Insider, though, today reported that the documentary is going to be released, quote, soon. Quote, the original plan was to release several days after Mania 40 weekend, but the abundance of footage shot required additional time to edit and go through the final approval process. Fuckers, you told us it was coming Wednesday. We didn't say anything.
Yeah.
This is so weird. It's like, you told us. If it wasn't ready, why'd you say it was coming Wednesday? You didn't have to tell us. Nobody knew WrestleMania 40 behind the curtain existed. You fuckers told us it was coming, and now you're saying, oh, hold on a minute. We got to edit all this additional footage. Come on. Yeah. Final approval. We got to look at final approval processes. I thought that line was kind of interesting. Final approval processes. That kind of caught me.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing about here's the thing. I will never watch it. I don't care about these things.
Good God.
I would never watch it. The intrigue in the story is what's slowing it up. Obviously, there's some footage or the way that things are being framed that somebody doesn't want out there in its current form.
Because this thing had to be like done or close to done. I mean, they had clips from it, and they said coming Wednesday. This was on Sunday. They said in Wednesday we're going to release this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrapped up in it. I don't really give a shit. I will never watch it. It's not something that's interesting to me. I never watch those things. Those WWE documentaries, they make me want to puke.
Oh, they're so bad.
I have no interest in them.
The worst part is my parents watch the A&E ones, and then I have to like talk to them about, and then they're like, "Yeah, did you know this happened?" I'm like, "No, it didn't." I have to wrestle-splain my parents, and it's they because they've gotten like pilled. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, did you know that like this happened and this happened?" I'm like, "No, it didn't." And they're like, "Well, they said on the documentary it did." I'm like, "No, it didn't happen that way."
Yeah.
It's quite difficult. Yeah, I don't. Now they at least have a little bit of a tinge of like, did this really happen or not? So then they clarify with me if it happened or not. But for a while there, it was like, oh, did you know this, and this? I'm like, none of that is true. No.
It's not even so much the revisionist history kind of docs, but even these kind of things where it's like they did one for the Undertaker's last match, and they did one like these aren't really tellings of history. These are more, here's a day in the life of being in this company. And this one, I guess, is going to be a lot of Cody hugging Liberty before he goes out to the ring, and fucking what The Rock did all day long. You know, I just don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, I'm just not.
it
doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of it. Like, I'm not gonna find it emotional. I don't. There's gonna be a camera following around Dwayne from when he leaves the hotel with his Voss water bottle, and he comes to the building,
sitting in traffic. God damn it!
And you're gonna get that shot where The Rock steps out on the set and gazes out at the empty fucking football stadium and points at his goosebumps. I just don't give a shit.
His goosebumps. Look at these. Yeah. Look at this right here, guys. Nothing like it. Yeah. Nothing like it. As he looks out,
you could predict what.
Yes, for sure. He walks out. He takes off his sunglasses. Takes off his sunglasses. Looks left. Looks right.
Looks around.
Looks to the camera. Slaps his goosebumps. Man, nothing like it.
Nothing like
home. This is where I belong. This is where I belong.
Yeah, yes.
Points to his heart. Points to his heart. You know.
No, yeah, he'll do the fist to the heart.
Yeah. Oh, right. The fist to the heart. Right.
This is where The Rock belongs. This is where The Rock belongs. You know, that's you know, that's I don't need to see that because I don't care. You know, it does absolutely nothing for me. You know, you can say it's hard to believe. Later on, I don't know why I sound like Barack Obama. But later on today, there's going to be 80,000 fans booing the final boss. Nothing like it. WWE Universe. He's got to throw that in.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be plenty of WWE Universe. You know, I just don't give a shit. I will never watch it.
Nothing like being a WWE superstar. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, got to throw in the buzzwords, right? We'll get the requisite shot of Paul Gorilla with the headset on, you know, as The Rock is getting ready to go out. You know, he's
shaking. He's shaking his arms back and forth. He's doing like, you know,
rolling the wrists. He's, you know, pulling them. You know, now some people will really get off on that and enjoy it.
If you smell, and then they point to the axe on the, the curtain.
The Rock. Yeah. And then the camera follow over his shoulder as he goes out. You know, it's some people will be into that. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Okay.
Cody in the bus. Cody in the bus.
Yeah.
Hugging Liberty, petting the dog. What's the dog? I forget the dog's name.
Didn't his bus catch on fire?
It did catch on fire.
Fun,
yeah, maybe that's why the document. Yeah, you know that's probably why it didn't come out. There's an arson investigation.
Well, we know nobody got hurt, so that's a fun little diversion, right? They got the kid out of there. They got the dog out of there. They got the Brandy
boots
out of there.
He got the boots out of there too. I think Dusty's boots.
Some memorabilia. Yeah, But it's, and this isn't just like, I know people are gonna be like, oh, this is typical Joe and Rich. They don't like WWE. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Okay. The Rams just put out a Matthew Stafford documentary last week, some kind of 3-part shit following him around. I will never watch it. I don't care.
He doesn't seem like a very interesting guy either. He doesn't seem like a very interesting dude either.
The games are over. I like watching the games. Okay. He's got triplets, girls. It's cute when he hugs them. How many times can I watch that? I've seen him hug his daughters. I don't care anymore. I don't care what his home life. I honestly don't give a shit what his home life is like.
Because you're not a Hard Knocks guy? Are you a Hard Knocks guy or no?
I'm not a Hard Knocks guy.
Yeah, you don't like Hard Knocks.
The only Hard Knocks I watch is Cut Day. That one's interesting.
That one's pretty good.
Watching those guys get their heart broken and the way the conversation, that's interesting. I'm not locked in on. The Rams have been on Hard Knocks twice. I blew it off. I'm not paying attention. I don't care. Rich, I don't care. So it's not just the WWE thing. They had that special, that Netflix. Was it Netflix that had Quarterback?
Yeah.
And they followed around Mahomes and Kirk Cousins. Rich, you have to staple me to the fucking chair to watch that shit. What the fuck do I care? Now listen, Sunday, I'm locked in. I'll watch the games. I'll bet my ass off. Okay? Eat some wings, watch the games, wall to wall. You know me, Rich. I'm watching the games.
You are a game watcher. You like the game. You want to watch a game.
I don't care what these guys are doing off the field. I couldn't give a fuck. It's just not interesting to me. So this is not just a WWE thing. I didn't watch the dopey AEW show that used to come on after Dynamite.
Oh, yeah. What happened to that show? Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Well, Cody left.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, I watched the first 10 minutes of the first one, and it's like, all right, I had enough of this. I don't, fucking care. Sammy Guevara whining about not being pushed. Come on.
That's kind of all I remember of that. AEW All Access. That was it. All Access.
I hear enough about that from people I talk to. I don't need to watch a fucking documentary about it.
Right. Oh God!
But so fucking. I'm just not into. I don't know. But what's interesting to me is why is this documentary being suppressed?
Yes.
What are the state secrets?
Classic catch in the No Dope chat room says The Rock is in traffic and he can't review it yet. He's got the copy at his house, but it's
true.
He's stuck in traffic. Yeah, that's right. He's like, The Rock's gonna watch that documentary when he gets out of this New York traffic.
Takes a sip of Voss.
Right.
Hopefully not the piss.
Right.
Bottle of Voss.
They're like, Rock, you just put it on while you're working out. The Rock doesn't watch movies when he's working out, when he's clanging and banging. Like, all right, well, whenever you get to it, buddy, it's no problem.
3-hour workout every day.
Right.
With The Rock.
Goosebumps. All right, we get the goosebumps. We got it, buddy.
Yeah.
We got it. We heard you.
Stupid fucking doc. Who cares?
Behind the curtain.
What do you think is
it will come out
revealed?
soon. They got to give me that Lex Luger documentary. They promised me a Lex Luger documentary. I released a Patreon show because of that. Remember a couple years ago, they said they were going to do a Lex Luger documentary about his, rise, the Lex Express and all that sort of shit. And I did a special Patreon show where I watched the entire USS Intrepid, body slam challenge or whatever, and reviewed it and released it on July 4th. And said, all right, well, you guys are going to enjoy the Lex Luger documentary. And then it never fucking came. They never uploaded it. So I look like an idiot.
Well, how long did it take them to put out that Vlad documentary?
Oh, that took 3 years. 4 years for sure for the Vlad. I never watched it.
And then they finally put it out. No, I didn't watch it. Yeah, I would never watch it. I'd be even less interested. The guy's a fan. So then they finally put it out.
Vlad. I want to know a little bit about Vlad. I'd watch that.
How different could his life be than yours? You're just I'm the same as him. Who fucking cares?
Seen so many things.
So that thing comes out finally, and the only thing anyone was talking about in the aftermath was, wow, his apartment was smaller than I thought. Like, who gives a fuck? Why is that interesting? I don't care what his apartment looks like. I hadn't thought about Vlad in 15
Vlad's
years.
Apartment, yeah.
Let alone how big his apartment is.
With Vlad, the superfan's apartment, yeah.
He had less memorabilia than I thought he would. Good.
Yeah, he's more normal than I thought he was. Turns out, yeah. Oh, poor Vlad. Anyway, all right. Well, that's WrestleMania 40 behind the curtain. You know what? We're doing WWE. Let's just get it all out of the way right now. Backlash France. I previewed this already a little bit during this week's Flagship Plus, by the way, if you want to listen to that. Supplemental Flagship on Monday. Or no, I did Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning that came out. Flagshippatreon.com. Talked about Drew McIntyre re-upping. So if you're wondering, hey, you're guys going to talk about Drew McIntyre re-signing with WWE? Nope. Did that on Flagship Plus. You're going to talk about WWE Backlash France? Yes, we actually are going to do that twice. So no, that one will actually get covered twice. But I recapped the WWE draft, gave you draft grades for both Raw and SmackDown, as well as in-depth analysis of each and every pick. You know, Liv Morgan staying on her same brand. We got to talk about it, discuss it at length. So yeah, WWE draft results. Go through each and every WWE superstar that was drafted to a new brand or their same brand, mostly the same brand. Covered it all on Flagship Plus. Also, AEW hired a senior marketing director of live events. I talked about that. Best of the Super Juniors blocks, went over all the blocks for the upcoming Best of the Super Juniors tournament, as well as a quick little This Week in Wrestling History. A lot of stuff happened this week in wrestling history, so I covered all that, as well as the clarifications about Vince McMahon and Nick Khan's TKO stock, because a lot of people went nuts with the Vince McMahon is out of WWE, and that's not exactly the case, and that's not exactly what happened. Or, hey, Nick Khan's selling all of his stocks. What's going on? That exactly wasn't the case either. But that is all clarified on Flagship Plus. You can find that on our $5 tier over at flagshippatreon.com. Did that earlier this week on Tuesday, if you want to go listen to that. But we do have to talk about WWE Backlash France, because this is... Joe, we've been one of the lone voices in the world that tells you how bad these Paul Levesque pay-per-views are, because we have to watch them all. We cover them all and discuss them all. And there's a lot of people that either won't tell you how bad they are or will pretend they're good. They're not. They're bad. This one might be the worst I've ever seen. I'm going to read you the full card of this show, okay? We don't have to stop, and I'm not going to do the thing where I go, Bailey, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and then you go, what do you want me to say, Rich? What am I supposed to say? I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to read the whole card for you, okay? And then I just want your...
You want me to break down the match? You don't want me to break down the matches, Rich?
WWE Women's Title Triple Threat match. Bailey defending against Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. Do it. What do you got?
I mean, what do you want me to say about this three-way with, Naomi?
Triple threat. It's a triple threat, Joe. It's not a three-way. It's a triple threat.
You know what? You're right. This is WWE show,
right? With washed up Naomi and fucking washed beyond belief Bailey, no knees Bailey, washed Naomi, and then Tiffy time.
Ugh. We're still putting Naomi in big spots after these performances. My God,
triple threat where Tiffy time's gonna have to carry the whole fucking thing. So
I would belt up Tiffy time, honestly.
Yeah, I would too.
Belt her up. Bailey has enough to do with the whole fucking damage control thing, right?
Sure.
Don't they gotta go?
Do they? I feel like there's enough. We're still doing more. I feel like it's buttoned up. We're not buttoned up. I can't believe we're not buttoned up yet.
Damage control is the only storyline Levesque ever has come up with.
We gotta be buttoned up by now.
So, I mean,
we're not buttoned up. You're telling me we're not buttoned up?
Seriously, just belt up Tiffy time. Why are we calling her Tiffy time?
Just
belt up Tiffany Stratton.
They call her Tiffy time. Every time I watch, they say Tiffy time, and I go, okay, great. Yeah.
Just belt her up. She's an exciting new star who, man, I saw some great words I wrote about her about over a year ago behind the paywall. I'm pretty good at identifying these stars, Rich. I'm not bad at it.
Yeah, but, Trick and Tiffy time. You nailed them. So
nailed them both. Day one. I would just belt her up. I mean, I don't know if they will. I don't care what they do. I have no feel for what they're going to do. But is it a match that anyone could possibly be looking forward to? No. Look at the people in it. You can't be looking forward to that.
By the way, this show is on Saturday afternoon. It's like noon Eastern. It's in France, obviously, noon Eastern. Yeah. I think I will be home, so I think I can do an instant-ish reaction for it.
How about that?
Instant-ish reaction on Saturday.
All right.
Depends when it ends.
It's from
better end before the Derby. That's all I got to tell you. I got to go to my local OTB for some Derby action. But
Rich, the Derby is 2.5 minutes long. You
but I don't want
around the Derby.
I know, but I got to go somewhere.
It's a horse race, Rich.
Yeah.
It's like 120 seconds. How long is the Derby?
You gotta drink a mint. I go to the OTB. I drink a mint julep. I go,
You really drink the mint julep?
Yeah, of course I do.
Unbelievable.
Got the newspaper. They don't do that. I don't think they do the newspapers anymore. Or my parents.
You got to get the racing form.
Yeah, I
got to
agree.
get the racing
That's what I see. You got to look over that a lot. You got to pour over that. You got to, where's my pen? Where's my pen? You got to look at both. Okay, yeah.
Listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Rich has to pour over the racing form for the $2 exactly he's going to play on this fucking race.
No. That's the one time a year. That's the only thing because it's the only thing I've actually won money in is the Derby. So that's the only thing I actually do care about betting. Because
so
like most stuff, I don't
open
care
the
about
wallet
betting.
for that one.
The wallet gets busted open. The wallet gets busted open. All you got to do, you got to hit one time. I hit a trifecta one time. Once you hit that, it's intoxicating, and now you're all in.
So you're chasing the dragon.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you'll put the heavy lumber. On the Derby.
Yeah, I nailed.
I won't ask what that is. That's uncouth.
No.
Uncouth.
But no, I nailed it. No, sorry, I nailed an exacta one year, man. That felt good.
Whatever heavy lumber is to you, you're putting it on.
It was all right. Yeah, it was
okay. All right. I believe you. I
dinner and drinks were on me.
Dinner
and drinks were on me that night. I'll tell you that.
Well, listen, you've been known to be a little frugal.
For sure.
To be honest,
definitely.
So, you strike me as a guy
I pick my spots.
You saunter up to that window with some complicated superfecta and plop down the $2 bet. And the guy behind the counter's just shaking his head like this fucking guy. But no, you'll bust out the heavy lumber for the Derby. Okay.
Yes.
At the local OTB with,
with D-Gen Ron, who's just like, oh, what are all these people doing here? Yeah, he doesn't know why there's so many people here. He wants to bet, the Miami Downs or whatever at the track.
Right.
He's like, all these people here. He hates Derby Day is his least favorite day of the year because his beloved OTB, where it's just him and three other guys, betting on random
chewing on unlit cigars. Right. They've got the racing forms. You don't even know where they got them from. They're still getting the hard copy racing forms. They get the shit delivered to their house in the morning. Yeah, the grizzled veterans of the gambling game. They're wearing their visor.
Always the visor, just pounding like Coors Lights or something like that, like domestic beers.
Hair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Haven't gotten a haircut in 7 months.
Always tan though. They're always tan somehow. I don't know how. They're always very tanned though.
Well, they're down at the track if they're not at the OTB. So
there's not many. There's no tracks left anymore, man. I don't know where they're going around here. All our tracks are gone, man. It sucks.
You got no tracks out there?
Nah, they're all gone. Bears bought. The one's gone. Bears bought the land there. Actually, no. We have one track. We have one track left. Hawthorne Racecourse, I believe, is still active, but we used to have like 5.
They're hanging out at Hawthorne Race.
They are. We used to have 5. We're down to 1, I believe. So.
Well, those are the guys. You got to see those guys. You got to look over the shoulder, see what they're betting.
Yeah, they're doing the right bets.
Yeah. Actually,
they're there all day. They can't be doing that good.
They wouldn't come anymore if they won big.
Right.
They're still waiting to win big. They've been waiting 40 years to win big.
But they're gonna hit one of these days. That superfecta is gonna hit one of these days, and they're gonna be laughing all the way to the bank. But it might not be today. But all right. Anyway, the Kabuki Warriors. You're gonna get some sort of coverage, instant-ish reaction or whatever for Backlash, because I got to watch this thing on Saturday. Because God forbid I have to watch this thing on like Tuesday. I'm not going to do it. I just can't do it. So I got to watch this thing on Saturday. WWE Women's Tag Team title. Speaking of never ending, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane defending the titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Can we find something else for Bianca Belair to do? Are we really? She's just bouncing between Damage Control tag teams and Damage Control people still.
It's never ending.
Paul, what are we doing here, bud?
What's more interesting to me is Jade Cargill, who worked the Royal Rumble with a couple very carefully planned spots. WrestleMania 6-woman tag, where she was barely in the ring, very carefully planned spots. 30-second squash on Raw over Chelsea Green, right?
Yes.
And then a tag team match with Jade to set up this match on SmackDown that went like 90 seconds. And they put Jade on the road to work house shows, and she's working 6-man tags with Bianca and Naomi against Damage Control. Rich, they know she fucking stinks.
They know she stinks.
They are terrified to let her wrestle.
Because even on the house show circuit, you don't give her a singles match on a house show circuit.
House shows. How is she not okay? You've got her in 6-man tags against Asuka, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane, right? all excellent workers, veterans. They know what they're doing. Why not make that a tag match? And why not have Jade work a singles match against, pick whichever one you want. Let's
Dakota
say
Kai.
Asuka.
Her and Dakota Kai can have 7 minutes. I'm positive.
And she could beat Dakota Kai because they don't protect Dakota Kai. So that's actually the perfect choice. So just why on the house shows isn't Jade having 18-minute matches every night against Dakota Kai and getting better? They must think that there is no upside.
Right.
Because they're not even doing that. It's puzzling to me. That's what house shows are for. That's what they used to be for. That's what they used to do on house shows with green wrestlers all throughout their history. Get them in there with a veteran. Get them some ring time. Play around, have them do different finishes, different, work to the crowd. But it's a different business now. They clearly have no confidence that she's ever going to be good. She's already 31. Look, I was ahead of the curve on this one. I was out on Jade in the middle of that AEW run. I said, there's nothing here. They can't do anything else with her other than these squashes. You can't trust her in any other situation. Her promos are one-dimensional. Cut the shit, Tony. Say a couple cocky lines. She never developed in that area either. It's all look and presence. That's it. There's nothing else there. They've had her down at that PC for months and months and months. And now they finally unleash her, and they're hiding her in tag team matches.
Yeah, it's telling. It's very telling.
It's very telling. I mean, this could be buyer's remorse to some degree. I mean, I'm sure they're going to find a way to get her over, but they have not taken off the training wheels at all. And, when did she leave? She left AEW in September.
September, yeah.
We're coming up on a year.
It's not far. Yeah, it's not far.
Okay, we're in May. At the end of the summer, it's a year, and they've done nothing with her. And they don't have the hardest to please fans, and they know that. They could put her out there. She could trip over her own feet and look like shit, and their fans are going to eat it up anyway, and they won't even let her do that. Think about that. These are people who think that Lexis King was let him cook. They don't have these fans have no standards. Right? I'm not trying to be an asshole.
No,
but they don't.
Well, it's telling for her too because she's still very obviously has 72 total matches. If you go to Cage Match, 72 total matches in her entire career. We forget too that after she beat Taya at Double or Nothing in May of 2023, they basically had her on ice for a couple of months until September, where she came and Statlander beat her, and then that was it for her. So she basically wrestled since May of last year. We're coming up on a year. She's had 9 matches in that entire time. She had the one match in September for AEW, then did nothing until the Royal Rumble, then did nothing until Mania. Yeah, and then you took us through the rest of it. It's like,
and now they just have her on the road,
right?
And
32 seconds is the only time she's had is that one against Chelsea Green, like you said, and that was it is exactly what she was doing against. Let me look at the Genesis and Danny B on Rampage. You know what I mean? Just nothing. Just absolutely. Vert Vixen and Nicole Matthews. They're the same matches she was having 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's telling. And she won't do much here. It's not like they're not going to have her in there playing Ricky Morton in this match. Selling a beating for 8 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be. I don't think she's the one that's going to be doing the heat. Isn't going to be Asuka and Kairi saying cutting the ring off and keeping Jade away from the hot tag to Bianca. I'd imagine that's.
But
not...
you know what? That's what she should be doing every night on the road.
Yes, she should.
Where and the other thing is they don't want her looking vulnerable. But again, that's what house shows are for, to do those things and learn. But I don't know. They either don't believe in that anymore, or they just know that
they just don't believe in her.
There.
Yeah, they think it's all the once they don't want to expose it, and they just want the look and the feel and the kind of dangle the carrot over everyone's head, and eventually, But it feels like at this point, like we haven't. She's not young either. It's not like we're talking about a 22-year-old with Jade Cargill.
She's in her 30s. She's 31.
Yeah.
It's athletically, this is it. So it's just a matter of, is she going to get the wrestling or not? Is she going to, the other thing is she's got the basketball background, and we talk about this all the time.
Always tough.
For whatever reason, and we haven't been able to pin it down, that's one of the worst sports in terms of transitioning to wrestling. If you look historically, everyone knows what the good ones are: amateur wrestling, college football, gymnastics. There's a nice little track record lately.
Did you see your guy Scripps? Did you see your boy Scripps? He
free agent.
Put all that shit in a box and looked at the camera and said, "I'm here. Here's my booking email. I'm in on Scripps, man."
That's right.
That's a Cirque du Soleil guy. Like, how is he not? There's got to be something there with my man Scripps. There's got to be. He's hungry. I like it. I like it. The booking email right out of the gates. I love the booking email right out of the gates. See what the price is.
I know. Yeah, look.
See what the price is.
Biss, seems like he's going to attack
Biss, find out what the price is and let us know. And then book him.
Well, the athletic ability is there.
Yeah.
Can he work a match? I don't fucking know. They never really gave him a chance.
The Performance Center sucks, man. What a fucking waste of goddamn money this Performance Center is, man. What are we doing here?
So, on April 19th of last year, David Schumacher of The Ringer, he proposed a mock trade on Twitter. Do you remember this? Where at the time, Jade Cargill was with AEW. And his proposal was Sol Ruca and AJ Styles to AEW for Jade Cargill. And here's what I wrote in one of my behind the paywall match reviews. When I reviewed that Tiffany Stratton Sol Ruca match where they did the Will Ospreay Ricochet spot in slow motion. Remember?
Yeah.
And all the WWE fans went crazy because they did it like horribly and in slow motion. So here's what I wrote about that. If I were Tony Khan, not only would I say yes immediately and hang up the phone before WWE came to their senses, but I would do that trade even without AJ Styles involved. Jade has been a proven quarter-hour mover who has naturally projected stardom from day one, but she got a late start, is already 30 years old, moves around the ring like she has two left feet, has no natural instincts, and isn't going to get significantly better. Sol Ruca is 23, is already no worse than Cargill in the ring, while being miles more athletic and physically impressive, and has 7 years to catch up at the rest, at which point Jade would be almost 40. Ruca could absolutely end up being a bomb, but I would do that trade and gamble on her upside because Jade has already peaked and her limitations have been exposed and aren't changing. The point here isn't to bash Jade as much as it is to demonstrate what Ruca has a chance to develop into, which is a more well-rounded total package than Cargill, who was a genuine diamond in the rough breakout star, end quote. And that was before she left to go to WWE. But if they, are you taking Sol Ruca and AJ Styles, or are you taking Jade Cargill?
I mean, yeah, that's easy.
Give me a break, because Sol, like I said, Sol might bust, but look at what she can do athletically.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good, at, especially with, if you got her in a real training system, because I really truly think the PC is a fucking disaster, but she's as good as she is being trained by the PC. I think if you got her in a real system and actually made her work and did house shows and that sort of stuff, she'd be really good because she's solid as hell. She's got the fundamentals. She's got. She understands how to be, do all the crazy flips and all that sort of stuff. If you could teach her how to work a match, which I don't know if the PC really does a very good job of, if you could teach her to work and structure a match, I think you got something. Great look, young, athletic as hell. Yeah. I
physically can do things that no other woman
I would do it. Yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat for sure.
And she's not the age that Jade is now for another 7 years.
Yeah, a lot of time.
She's got 7 years to improve the rest of her game. She doesn't have Jade's natural star power or presence, which I also think is a little overrated, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, and then you get AJ Styles as like a throw-in, so anyway, I've been out on Jade a while and it doesn't look like it's going well. No. But anyway, we spent way too much time on that.
Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga, who's our Bloodline.
So I haven't had a chance to do this. We have to apologize to Rich Craich.
Thank you. I was waiting for my apology.
Let me do it.
Okay.
I've got it all. Listen, you deserve it. You have earned it.
Years.
All along.
Years, Joe. I was saying this.
Every time you said it, just go to WWE already and join the Bloodline. I would tug my collar. I'm like, Rich is going to get us canceled. This man is a Tongan. He's not a Samoan. These are two different nations. These are two different cultures. Rich Craich is just, he's going to get us canceled out here. I don't need this shit. But you insisted, Joe, it doesn't matter. They don't care.
Every time I insisted.
Joe, it does not fucking matter. You would push back. You're like, Joe, it doesn't matter. They don't give a shit if it's two different. To them, it isn't. And what do? They bring Tama Tonga in, and on the first fucking day, they put him in the Bloodline. Rich Craich, I apologize.
Thank you.
I shouldn't have been worried. It's not you that's getting canceled. It should be them that's getting canceled. But come on. This is the Levesque playbook. Are you all of a reasonably similar nationality? Well, you're in a faction. Look at the fucking roster. The LWO, the Bloodline. Damage Control is every Japanese woman on the roster.
And Dakota Kai, who may as well be Japanese, who would really like to be Japanese.
How does he get away with this? How does he get away with it?
He does.
It's incredible. Every single Bobby Lashley faction is a bunch of black guys.
This one's called the Pride. Joe. It's called the Pride.
It's incredible. This man's not even Samoan, Rich.
His name is Tonga. It says Tonga in his name. It doesn't matter.
But you were right.
I know. It's too perfect.
All those times tugging my collar.
You always said, Rich, he's Tongan, though. How are they going to do that?
I'm like, Rich, don't say that. You know? After the shows, I'm like, Rich, you got to edit that out. You're like, no, they're going to put him in it.
They're gonna.
You're going to see, Joe. They don't care.
I was like, I planted that flag like 4 years ago, man. And it wasn't paying off, but it finally did. And I'm so glad. But that's your current state of the Bloodline right now. Hot, talented young wrestler. What did Eric Bischoff call him? Promising young talent, Tama Tonga.
Good young talent. Promising young talent. Yeah.
42-year-old Tama Tonga. Yeah.
Yeah. Been around for a decade and a half. Listen, nothing against Tama Tonga. Okay?
But young is not how I would describe Tama Tonga.
Good worker, telegenic, right?
Good body.
Looks good on TV.
Understands the game, understands wrestling.
Understands better than people think he is. Right? That's no disrespect to Tama Tonga. I'm glad he got the bag. I'm assuming he got a bag. I'm glad he got the bag. Okay? He gets to hang out with, he gets the too sweet Carl Anderson in the hallway. Listen, good for Tama Tonga. Okay? He's not a promising young talent. That middle word there doesn't fit. You think Eric Bischoff has ever seen a Tama?
Never.
I don't know why I'm even asking.
Never.
Why am I even asking that?
Never. Zero.
Do you think he thinks he's like 28?
Yes.
I think you're right.
I think he thinks. Yeah, because he looks good for. Hey, if I look like that guy when I'm 41.
No, listen. Modern athletes, modern wrestlers, they don't fucking age.
No, he looks
great. They take care of themselves. You know, they get the fake testosterone. You know, we just talked about that. These guys know what they're doing. They look great. This isn't 41-year-old Don Morocco stinking up ECW. The guy he still looks like a fucking machine, but he's not a promising young talent. You know, Eric Bischoff knows nothing. Anyway, the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. Two different countries, two different cultures.
Versus Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Can you imagine how little working shoes Randy Orton's going to have in France for WWE Backlash when he's facing Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga? So KO's going to have his work cut out for him there. Two more matches because we got a Paul Levesque special here. 5 matches on this never-ending 4-hour show that's going to have a bunch of ads showing me the fucking Eiffel Tower and shit. Damian Priest versus main event Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title. Can you even imagine how not good this match is going to be? After what we saw at WrestleMania from Uso. And Damian Priest ain't exactly, Ricky Steamboat out there either. So I don't know, man.
Jey Uso has not been good in the big spot, to say the least.
And then Cody versus AJ Styles.
Placeholder title defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be fine.
So we have another Levesque 5-match special. Is that what we're doing here?
Mm-hmm.
There's only 5 matches on the show.
5 matches, as far as I know. Maybe they'll book a few more on SmackDown, but right now, as of this recording, May 2nd, 5 matches.
Well, they're always
good,
5
Joe,
or 6 matches.
Because it gives me time between the matches, which I like.
Ah, yeah. Get a snack.
I like the hour and 15 minutes between matches that I get.
Yeah, these pay-per-views are the pits. I mean, it's incredible how non-discerning their fan base is, because these pay-per-views always
They
fucking stink.
Yeah, and people don't call it out, but we're going to call it out. So that's why it has to be on here. That's why we had to do this segment again. I did it on Flagship Plus, and I had to bring it back here because you have to know what it's like to have to watch these pay-per-views. So there you go. Noon on Saturday or something. I don't know when it is. Look it up on your Peacock, I guess. WWE Backlash France. You know what? I'll take the bullet for this one. I'll review it on Saturday or Sunday.
I don't mind reviewing it.
Instant-ish reaction.
Locked in.
Instant-ish. You will not be locked in. You won't be up when it starts, first off.
Hey now. Working stiff. I will be up at fucking 1 p.m. Okay? What time do the Reds play on Saturday?
That's true. I don't know, yeah. It might be head-to-head with the Reds game, which I would I'll take this bullet. It's okay.
I got 19 TVs in the fucking room.
That's true. That's true.
See.
I'm considering watching this. I'm considering trying to plot this out where start watching it right when it ends and see if I could skip all the videos, because it just makes me mad when I watch all the videos. But then I think I need that for the review. I need that rage of the 4th tourism video for France. I need that rage. So I'm gonna have to watch it live. Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, you got to let that fire.
Because without that, if I just go through the entrances and I go through all the promo packages and I finish this thing in 45 minutes or whatever, that rage might not be there. I might be like, good little show. Yeah, it was all right. I need I just got done watching 6 different videos telling me about France tourism. And Corey Graves being like, yeah, the country of France has been great to the WWE universe this week. And it's like, fuck off. Right. Go away. And a Bailey video package about her title win. I gotta.
You need that to incite your anger.
I do. Michael Cole saying WWE has been welcomed with open arms here in France this week, and they go. It's like Liv Morgan going to a hospital in France or whatever like that, and Montez Ford
if you're watching
eating a croissant in front of the Eiffel Tower or whatever. I need that. I need to watch that.
Yes. Think he'll be there with Bianca, or do you think they'll have him on the road somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know. Drinking wine. This is called wine country over here in this part of France. Is considered wine country.
They should pull him off the road and let him go to Paris.
I agree. I would take. I don't know if this is in Paris. I don't know what town in France this is in. I'm not going to pronounce it right.
Paris?
I don't believe it is. I believe it's in. Let's see, Backlash France. Let's see if I can butcher the name of this town.
Laurinaitis.
Oh God, I can't even begin. It's in Lyon. We'll go with Lyon. It's got Lyon. There's another name in there that I cannot even begin to pronounce.
Hold on.
I'll with the little. Okay, yeah, go for it.
Swoosh,
a little swoosh.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What's the name of this show? Backlash.
Backlash France. Backlash France.
All right.
At the LDLC Arena.
Backlash France at the. Oh wow.
That's a toughie.
The at the Dessert Chapeau Lyon Metropole.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nailed it.
Right?
Yeah,
I think I nailed it.
That's not bad.
I think I nailed it. Do you have any French listeners?
Yeah, probably. Maybe French Canadians. I don't think we have actually nobody from actual France.
Right, French Canadians.
French Canadians for sure. We definitely have some French Canadians listening.
Well, quite frankly, I believe I nailed that.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I'm not even going to try to.
That.
I'm going to try. Oh, classic catch reminds me of the R-Truth segment. Oh my God, R-Truth's going to come out and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and waving like the Union Jack or whatever. Being like, "Happy to be here in England." They're like, "Oh no, we're in France." Oh no,
we're not in Luxembourg, silly. We're in France.
You silly goose. We're in France.
Yeah. God. The hijinks.
A barrel of laughs. Oh, it'll be a barrel of laughs on Saturday.
Maybe Maybe he'll reference Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, right.
I think Pepe Le Pew got canceled.
Did Pepe Le Pew get canceled? Oh,
yes,
for like being
because
too
he's
French,
horny.
like being for being horny.
For being too horny.
Ah.
Yeah. Pepe Le Pew,
We don't like horny?
Canceled.
Not that kind
Well,
of
he's
horny.
horny in a bad way.
He is too horny. Yeah, he is definitely too
He's
horny.
a little sex assaulty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like Pepe Le Pew's a little rapey, I think they think. So,
yeah.
Pepe Le Pew, who a lot of people probably don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. But I think he's a little
too forthcoming. Yeah, he's a little too
aggressive.
Yeah.
A little
yeah.
not taking
a little too
no for
grabby,
the
a little
answer.
too grabby, a little aggressive, yeah.
Let's see if the wiki page has controversies like they do for canceled people.
Well,
Let's
it
see.
does. I was able to find very quickly. Ice Cube says men can learn a lesson from Pepe Le Pew, which say no more.
Well, there you go.
And then the subhead is, quote, the rapper / actor stars in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem and thinks guys can learn something from the animation's horniest skunk. So I'm not going to actually read the article, but
yeah. For those who don't know, he's a horny skunk who pursues
female skunks.
It says
Dude, would people not know who Pepe Le Pew is? I guess maybe not. I guess there's probably a
no, because he got fucking canceled.
Yeah.
You know, so they canceled him and Speedy Gonzalez and yanked him out.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Speedy Gonzalez. Yeah, Speedy probably, yeah. Even as a kid, I was like, I don't know. Is this should I be laughing at this? I mean,
so it says at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, a slideshow named Women in U.S. Animation shows cartoons that shows, quote, imagery that implies sex assault, end quote, including Pepe Le Pew.
yeah.
And due to the controversy surrounding the character, Pepe Le Pew was removed from modern Warner Brothers projects until further notice, beginning with Space Jam: A New Legacy. However, the character has been seen in later projects since then. They're slipping him back in.
Oh, trying to get him in through the back door. No one's ever truly canceled, Joe. You know the old saying?
Not even Pepe Le Pew. Listen, I'm
Pepe
familiar. I'm familiar with the concept.
Marty Scurll can still get bookings, and Pepe Le Pew can still sneak in on the back.
Right. They're slipping him in. Same thing with Speedy Gonzalez, apparently.
Okay.
It helps because Gabriel Iglesias, you know, the comedian.
Yes, yeah. Fluffy, they call him.
Yeah.
He's cool. Pepe's cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He has endorsed the character, and he has said that he could not say that he ever saw the character in a negative light growing up watching the original cartoons.
Shut up. Come on.
He said it was just from a different time, end quote.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, I don't know how you can't see it with Speedy Gonzalez. I mean, you can. I mean, the sombrero and the mustache. Yeah, it's all right, but you know,
who am I to say?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can't.
You got to ask the people involved, like
right.
Iglesias.
Yeah, if Fluffy says it's cool, then you know what? Yeah, I guess it's.
Fluffy's all right with it. Who am I to argue?
Yeah.
So it looks like they're slipping them both back.
No, but is anybody from France trying to help Pepe, a fellow skunk? Like who's like a French dude that could be like, nah, Pepe's good. They can't do that though, because like at least Speedy Gonzalez wasn't like rapey. He was just like very stereotypical. Pepe was like, he wasn't just French. He was also very grabby.
Yeah, it says, okay,
very
the
grabby.
character has been criticized due to his antics being perceived as perpetuating stereotypes of French culture.
Okay.
Come on.
He wasn't that French. I mean, he was a little French.
I can't. He's very French, but I mean.
He was much hornier than he was French. Like, his defining trait was not that he was French. It was that he was a fucking horn dog.
Right. Well, the idea is that's a stereotype of French culture that I think that they're all fucking horn dogs.
Right.
Right.
But he was real grabby. You know what I mean? It wasn't it was. The ladies would make it very clear they were not into Pepe, but he did not like that.
Amber George in her 2017 essay, quote, Pride or Prejudice, exploring issues of queerness, speciesism, and disability.
Oh, you love that. You always reference. You reference that one a lot. You reference that one a lot. So.
Yes, I've often read those works. End quote. Describes Pepe's actions towards Penelope Pussycat as, quote, sexual harassment, stalking, and abuse, end quote.
It was.
and noted that Pepe's qualities mock the French people and their culture.
Okay. All right. But that's fine. If you want to start with the sexual abuse and then go to the French culture thing, I think that's the order. Pepe was clearly, or Speedy Gonzalez was clearly the one way more than the other. But yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Speciesism?
Yeah, well. What was her name? Penelope Pussycat? What was her name?
Penelope Pussycat.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't even, they made it very
They're
clear.
not even the same species.
Yeah. But she was, though. She was a skunk, wasn't she?
No, she's a cat. Pussycat.
No, I thought she was a skunk, though. I know that she's called that. I feel like she was a fellow skunk.
Then what's the complaint of speciesism?
I don't know, because she was a fellow skunk, if I remember correctly.
First of all, I don't know what the fuck speciesism is. That's where we could start there. Okay.
Okay, I guess she was actually a cat. She had similar colors, but she was indeed a cat. She was a black and white cat. So I apologize.
Well, her name's Pussycat.
Well, I know, but I don't know. I thought they started with pussy and then worked their way backwards. You know what I mean? They went with the pussy to start off, and then we're like, I guess she's got to be a cat. What are we talking about here?
Speciesism is applied ethics and philosophy of animal rights, the practice of treating members of one species as morally more important than members of other species.
You know what? Hold on a minute. Sorry, I remember the gimmick. She was like a black cat, but then like a can of paint would fall on her, and then she had the stripe, and then he was like, me horny now, and then he was all in. Oh, that's right. That's
He'd be like, oh, you're actually a skunk.
Yeah, right. I apologize.
And then he would chase her around.
Yes. She was a normal black cat, but then like she would run into the side of a wall or something, and then she would have white on her, and then then
she'd get the white stripe, and then Pepe would be all horny. But the thing
they got
is,
a lot of episodes out of that. It was the same shit every time, but they got a lot of episodes out of that.
I was like, much like the Coyote would never catch the Roadrunner, Pepe Le Pew could never close the deal with Penelope Pussycat. You know what I mean? The joke was always on him because he would never actually get laid. Right? Which they're not even the same species, which I guess, what are we even doing? Someone wrote an essay on that, like with a straight face.
Yes, like sat down, cracked their knuckles, and went, all right, here we go. I gotta
attack
this.
The speciesism with these Pepe Le Pew cartoons. We got to let people know.
Someone's got to do it, Joe.
No, they don't.
We had to preview Backlash France, and somebody had to write about Pepe Le Pew's speciesism. All right.
But did they?
Nah, not really. But anyway, let's talk about the Elite quickly here. The Elite, people wanted us to say, you guys haven't talked about this yet. You've talked about it on the Thursday Dynamite Reviews a couple times already. FlagshippPatreon.com if you want the weekly Thursday Dynamite Reviews from Joe every single week, every single episode of Dynamite ever behind that paywall there. But yeah, so we have obviously the Elite doing kind of the NWO thing last week, beating up Tony Khan, sending him packing, Jungle Boy turning on Tony, the scapegoat, all that sort of stuff. Then you have Tony hamming it up with the neck brace during the NFL draft and stuff, and trying to get attention that way of, I got the neck brace, and and okay. And, now you have the Elite this week beating up Kenny Omega. They're the heel authority figures. They can make matches and decide what's going to happen on the show or whatever. And the best way that I can put this, and I know you've talked about it a little bit on audio, so I'll go first, and then obviously you can give your thoughts that I think you have given a little bit, is that I think they're doing a good job with it. I think the Elite as these asshole heels and suits is good. I like it. I think they're doing a good job with it. I think Tony getting beaten up and hamming it up with the neck brace during the NFL draft is good. I think that was a wise move for him to do that, to ham it up and wear that neck brace and be seen on TV with the neck brace and all that sort of stuff. And, them beating up Kenny Omega was a great angle at the end of Dynamite. I think it's all good. I just don't want any of it. I just don't need any of it. And I think I don't know if it's an us problem. I don't know if there's other people that agree with us, but it's like, I've seen this same authority figure / owner as an on-screen character / big heel group running ruckshaw. I've seen that a lot, and I don't think I need it again. And I just think it's you talked about on your Thursday Dynamite review that they're not breaking any new ground here with this. It's an angle that's as old as time. But to me, that's kind of the problem, is that they're not breaking any new ground. And it's a story that's been told 1,000 times. And it's a tale as old as time of, we got a little bit of the Four Horsemen in here. We got a little bit of the NWO in here. We got a little bit of, the heel authority figures out of WWE. We have Mr. McMahon, the Tony Khan role. You have this sort of, we've seen this time and time and time and time again. And we've been very clear from the beginning. From the beginning of this company, from the moment they announced this company until today, we have not wavered from this whatsoever at any point ever. I thought AEW was going to tell wrestling stories differently. I thought it was going to be different than what I've seen over the last 30 years, 40 years really at this point. And it's just not. And I guess that's okay. That's fine. I can still enjoy it because I still think they're doing a good job with it. But I can't say that I'm actually into this story because it's the same shit. I've seen this story done 15, 20 times in my many, many years, my many decades of watching wrestling. And I really, truly, for some reason, thought that AEW would and could and should be different and break new ground and tell different stories and tell stories in different ways and be different than what we've seen, but they're not. So now you just have to rely on, okay, they have really good matches and they're going to do these angles better than other companies have done them. And that's fine. And that's kind of where I'm at with AEW right now. I think they're doing a good job with this story. I really do. I think the Elite's doing a good job with it. I just can't tell you. I can't come on here and go, oh my God, what great. Because it's the same shit I've seen 1,000 times. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's my big picture thought about the Elites thing and Tony Khan being an on-screen character and stuff is I wish it didn't come to this, but it's come to this. So now it's just all right, I got it. It's fine. Whatever. My hope that they were going to be different is kind of gone. And now they're offering me better in-ring. Obviously better in-ring. I like the way they tell their stories a little bit better. So that's good. That's fine. I'll hang my hat on that. It's just my hope that this was going to be different is now completely lost. It's the same shit. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that mirrors a lot of what I said in the Dynamite review today. Yeah, it's been 5 years, and it's the thing about it is I'm not going to repeat all the points you just made, which were a lot of the same points I made. So for a lot of people, it would be repeating them twice who listen to the Dynamite review. But if the storyline does take off and it's a success, they're only going to lean harder into it. You have to consider this. When MJF really took control of the top of the card around last March, when they started building the four pillar feud, and then through the rest of the year with the Brochacho storyline, and then the Devil, and then all that nonsense, which wrapped up at World's End, literally at the end of the year on December 27th. So basically from February through all of 2023 was, a lot of the sports entertainment geared top of the card, which I complained about incessantly and talked about at length. That actually ran off paying customers and television viewers, and they still leaned into it, and they still stuck with it through the end, and never pivoted at any point. So if this storyline, which again is very much sort of the same kind of stuff we've been seeing on American wrestling television for the better part of 25 years, with the fight for power of the show and authority figures and heel authority figures.
We can't be fired, and this is what our contract says and stuff. That stuff's that really grinded me, that they the Elite's we can't be fired because we're EVP, so we can make the matches because Tony's not here. And I was just oh, really?
And then the promoter being a character, and Tony has kind of straddled the line with that, but never crossed it. Now he's full on crossed it. You know what I mean? He's a character on the show. And I guess you could tell in our voices, it's more disappointment than anything.
Right. I think it's good. I want to preface that I think they're doing a good job with it. I just don't want it.
Yes.
I just don't want it.
I'm not interested. Yeah. It's just the same old. And as I've been saying for 5 years, if you want to be an alternative, if you want to be a challenger brand, you have to do something different, bring something different to the table. Because you're not going to beat the dominant brand at their own game. And this is kind of straight out of that playbook. And it's, it's disappointing from that standpoint. Can they do it better? I don't know. It's just the way I look at AEW now, from the Continental Classic till about a couple of months ago, I thought they really were getting back on track with their own identity. You know, we're the best wrestle.
Yeah.
They even came up with a tagline, and you know, and now this kind of is a step backwards on that. And it's maybe it's just a situation where no one is smart enough to come up with a way to present American wrestling in a different way. Maybe it's just been ingrained too long that this is how you do it, and this is how it's always going to be done, right down to having the
problem is they did. The problem is they showed us they could.
Yeah, it's true, and it's just it reverts back, and I don't know if it's Tony feeling the crunch of the ratings kind of having stagnated, right? They still are like the number one entertainment show every Wednesday, just finishing behind the basketball and finishing behind the basketball and the hockey when it's playoff season. So it's not like from that standpoint, they're sliding down the chart. The ratings are stagnant.
Right.
They're just not growing.
Well, we said this last year, though, at the time when you were talking about the MJF stuff. More people were watching when you were an alternative and when you were different.
Right.
So what possesses you to then decide, we got to be like those other guys? And Tony even said, like, I think he even went on record of saying, you know, we did some experimenting, we saw what worked and what didn't work or whatever, and
yeah,
they must not see this as the same. And I don't know. It's just, to me, it's again, I think they're doing a good job of it. It's just like, man, I really am just disappointed that this is just we can't tell different stories in wrestling. Just we are completely incapable of it, and a lot of it is. Look at who he's hired. Look at all the last 2-3 years of hires in that company. All of them have been ex-WWE guys, ex-writers, ex-production guys, ex-agents, all that sort of stuff. If you're saying we're not going to have agents and saying we're going to be different and we're going to hire outside of the it's just, you know, it's just the same people telling the same story. And I've been complaining about that. Go back and listen to this show 10 fucking years ago. I said, God damn it, can we get some new people to write wrestling and talk about wrestling and do it's just the same people writing about it, the same people. And the problem is when WWE has this power vortex that they've had for the last 20 years is everybody comes from that system. And that's what happened to TNA after a while. After a while, they started hiring a bunch of ex-WWE people that said, hey, this is the way to do it. You got to do it this way. And more we now have like multiple generations now that just know one way. And the only way is that way. And it sucks because, for 28 years now, it feels like, or 30 years now, we felt like we were just doing the same thing over and over again. And some of the stuff was in the territories too. The, you know, on-screen owner of the company, that was in the territories too. But like, come on, man, we can tell different stories, right? I thought we could, but I guess we can't.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
You know, I feel like here's the other thing. You sign Okada, Will Ospreay, and Mercedes Moné for what I assume is a combined 8 figures per year.
Oh God, yes.
Let's not get 10 figures per. Geez, combined 8 figures per year. But
Okada money's pretty good. Anyway, moved it from Japan.
Why aren't you just pushing all 3 of them to the moon? I'm a little confused about. You have Mercedes pursuing a secondary title in the mid card. You have Will Ospreay now pursuing a secondary title in the mid card. And when I think everyone would agree that he feels like the hottest guy in the company. Rich, what happens when you wait too long when someone feels hot?
Yeah.
How many times have we seen that happen? You know, people, you know, they're not super patient and they start to respond at the level of which you're pushing them. When you put Will Ospreay in a geek battle royal with a bunch of mid-carders and have him win it and pursue a mid-card title against a guy who does comedy shtick, well, you know, now your fans are going to start to perceive him where you're slotting him. And I've said the same thing about Mercedes going after the mid-card title, you know, and a secondary title. And Okada, I think they've done a great job with Okada, and they put what is still considered an important title on him as opposed to the other 2, right? But he's also kind of just been sort of a background figure to the Bucks. You know, and he does get his chance to shine and all that. And he had the face off with Omega. I think they're doing a better job with Okada than the other 2.
Yes, I would agree. I think he of the 3 has been presented the best.
But I don't think they're doing a great job, the best job they could with any of them. They should be the hardest push people in the company. I mean, you're paying them all that money. They're huge stars that you won the bidding wars on. They picked you. Now pick them. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why 2 of them weren't even on the show last night? You have a 3-hour Dynamite. You could talk about the last hour being Rampage all you want. You had a 3-hour live Dynamite last night. They didn't promote that show hard at all. We didn't know what was going to be on the show other than Kenny Omega until like the day before. And then it was just a bunch of nothing middling matches. And none of the stars were there. Or very few of the stars were there. You know, it's crazy. Swerve didn't wrestle on the show. I know he did an angle. You know, the 3 stars I just talked about, none of them wrestled on the show, and 2 of them weren't even there. Danielson's off selling an injury. I get it, but we didn't even hear. Maybe can we hear from him? That might have been a nice little quarter-hour draw. We hear from Bryan Danielson and the status of his injury. Something. You know, Mox is in Japan. You give him a pass on that one. But you get the idea. It's crazy how little that show was promoted last night. You know, when they had a chance, especially coming off that huge audience that they piggybacked off of on Saturday, with coming after the NBA game, to really push the idea that Dynamite's going to be live in 3 hours on Wednesday, and it's going to be an enormous. I would have loaded that fucking show up with my best shit. It was a middling show, and then with a dead crowd, and the show ended up being a nothing show. I don't know. It's puzzling. It's puzzling. This company just. Yeah. That was the theme of my review. It was like missed opportunities. I feel like there was just so many missed opportunities this week.
The biggest one that you brought up wasn't necessarily this week's Dynamite, which I thought was, you know, whatever. It was a pretty middling show, like you said, and they did have an opportunity of 3 hours. To me, what bothered me a lot was Saturday, because Saturday was the big lead-in coming from the NBA. You were going to get a massive, massive lead-in, and they did. What was it, 1.35 million?
1.35 million people watched the first 7 minutes. And I think 835,000 people or somewhere thereabouts, give or take 10,000, were there for the first quarter hour after those opening 7 minutes.
I mean, that's great.
They had roughly 1 million people watching the first 23 minutes of the show.
And we've been very clear about this. Anytime it happens, and anytime we've done a Dynamite review, instant reaction or whatever, anytime you've done a Dynamite review, you've been clear about this. With things that we love, and I would do every single week on Dynamite if I could. Maybe not every week, but I would try to do it most weeks, is the second we fade up from black, I want 2 guys in the ring bouncing around, and I want Bryce Remsburg saying, ring that bell, and then ding, 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 and these guys go. There was that one where it was Claudio and Phoenix. Do you remember that? I always bring this one up. We punt, we do the, light the fuse, whatever. We go to the ring. Claudio is jumping up and down, stretching. Phoenix is jumping up and down, slapping his chest. It's 4 seconds in, and they go ring the bell, and they run at each other, and they're fucking fighting. And I was like, that is how... Man, if you're trying to get a person that hasn't watched wrestling in a while, that maybe doesn't watch wrestling, to get them after an NBA game to say, look at what the fuck we're doing here. Look at the energy that we're bringing. To me, that would hook me for life. And maybe I'm different than a lot of people, but if I saw that, that would get me involved. They decided to have Swerve come out and cut a promo. And, man, I don't know. I think you can have Swerve come out there. I think you can have Swerve. If Swerve is the guy you wanted, that's fine. But have Swerve in that ring ready to go, bell ring, he beats the fuck out of a guy, whatever the hell happens, and then he can cut a promo afterwards.
Then he does his promo.
He could be Joe Cool or whatever afterwards. I have no problem with that, but action. I need action out of the gates. I can't do entrance promo. You're losing me already. If I don't watch wrestling, why the hell am I going to watch this?
They did a 20-minute promo.
Right.
They did a 20-minute promo, and they had Claudio come out and set up the main event. And it didn't work because the least viewed was the final quarter hour of the show.
All right, we lost Joe there for a sec. We're going to get him back in a moment. There he is. All right, Joe's back. Hello.
Oh my God! How long was I gone? Jesus,
you said that you were just talking about the last quarter, how that was the lowest rated quarter.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the Swerve promo and Claudio challenging didn't even work because the final quarter hour of the show, when they did the match, was just a normal Collision quarter hour, despite the fact that they had the massive lead in and they had more average viewers throughout the entire show than a typical Collision. So they did hook some people that don't normally watch. They did. The problem is that opening quarter hour didn't convince them that they needed to see Swerve in the main event against Claudio because they were all gone by the final quarter.
Right,
hour.
and you had a pretty much normal, even less than
a normal. Yes, the collision, the quarter hour 8 from the week before with the Elite versus FTR and Pac did essentially the exact same number as Swerve and Claudio without the benefit
that can't
of
happen.
the NBA lead-in.
That can't happen.
And last week there was an ad break during that match, and there was no ad break during Swerve and Claudio. And we all know what ad breaks do. So from that standpoint, opening up Collision the way they did with the slow 20-minute promo and Swerve out there talking and Claudio, it did not work. It did not work because it did not keep those viewers until that match hit the ring. They were gone by then. Now they did the bigger number and everything and, whatever. This is not hindsight. I would not have opened the show that way. Okay? I would have either had a match ready in the ring, the most exciting match you can put together, and just had people doing high spots. Okay? Or I would have opened with a big angle. I would have done a cold open with whoever Swerve was going to wrestle on the show, beating the shit out of him as soon as he come on the air in the back. And it wouldn't have been a babyface. It wouldn't have been Claudio. You know who I would have done it with? Samoa Joe. I would have had Samoa Joe beating the living shit out of Swerve to open up that show, to set up a main event match, and then have Swerve beat Joe again and totally rear view him at that point. Joe can lose again because Joe just lost the pay-per-view. You're not even sacrificing anything. It's the perfect scenario. And then just have Swerve beat him again in the final quarter hour. But you open up with a big bloody angle, and all those NBA viewers are going, whoa, what the fuck is this? This is different. And a lot of them stuck with it anyway, even with the promo. But I think you would have stood a better chance of keeping them for the match if it would have been set up in a more compelling way. So I just think Saturday was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think Wednesday was a missed opportunity.
For sure. Yeah.
They tried something Saturday. It didn't work.
The thing I always say is wrestling can do wrestling better than anybody else. Wrestling can't do comedy better than anybody else. There's better comedies than wrestling. Wrestling can't do drama better than other drama shows. Wrestling can't do, wrestling it wants to be a variety show, but there's better variety shows out there. Nobody can do wrestling better than wrestling. And yet, for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, wrestling wants to be anything but wrestling and tries like hell to not be wrestling and to get away from wrestling and do as little wrestling as possible. And AEW is not that, they give you a lot of wrestling. We got, a 20-minute, Adam Copeland match on this week's Dynamite or whatever. But in that spot right there, that is the time to say, you know what? We're wrestling. We do wrestling better than anybody else. We're the best wrestle, like you said. I am. That thing is coming up from the NBA right into action. Hot action, good at whatever it is. I don't care who it is. I don't know if it's hard hitting action or high flying action, whatever. I want action, man. I am not having a guy come out and cut a promo. That is not. You can get people talking a lot of other places and a lot of better places too. No offense to Swerve.
Listen, that's what's the 20-minute promo is whose trope?
Yeah, WWE.
It's the other company's trope,
right?
It's and again, the proof that it didn't work is go look at that quarter. Right back to normal numbers, despite having higher numbers the rest of the show. That did not hook anyone on the match. It just didn't. So from that standpoint, it was a missed opportunity. And, the Dynamite number this week, they finished the same place they always do, right behind all the playoff games from both leagues. They were up a little bit in total viewers, right around the same demo they always do. So, I don't know how much all of Tony's neck brace stuff was worth. I don't know what the lead in on Saturday ended up being worth. But again, I can't understand when they finally had all of, so many more eyes from the mainstream media on them this week. They didn't push that Dynamite as hard as they possibly could have.
No,
they didn't at all.
I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of people doing the blanket ass, like, oh, he's getting attention for AEW with the neck brace. Is he though? Is he? Who's watching Dynamite this week because Tony Khan was in a neck brace getting interviewed by NFL Network? Like, people say that shit, but it doesn't actually promote. It's not actually what
should have been out there promoting all this huge 3-hour live show with all these great matches. And he didn't do any of that.
He should have had Swerve in the background with him. Say, hey, I'm here with Swerve, the AEW World Champion. He should have been in that fucking room. You know what I mean? Like, get it. really promote that shit. I mean, it being out there with the neck brace is good. Like, I'm glad he sold it. I'm glad he wore the neck brace. Trust me, I'm fine with it. But that's just attention for the sake of attention. That's just getting social media buzz and algorithm shit. But that's not actually growing. That's not actually promoting. There's a way to do it. There's a way to promote there. But that it was nice that he did it. Again, I'm glad that he went out there with the neck brace. But a lot of people giving a lot of credit to, like, oh man, he's really, that gets attention, but it doesn't grow your business. And
there's nothing wrong with
no.
They need all the attention they can get.
Of course.
What I'm saying is they just missed two big opportunities this week because now everything moves on. Everything moves on. It's old news. No one's talking about Tony wearing a neck brace anymore. You had people's attention, and what they end up getting out of it. I mean, it's like the same Dynamite rating they always get. The Rampage did worse than it did piggybacking Dynamite last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, or rather, the Rampage following on the Rampage on Saturday that followed Collision did worse than the Rampage that followed the previous Saturdays. Is the one that I meant. So so from that standpoint, it's just a series of missed opportunities. I don't know. It's baffling sometimes how this company goes about things. It's just baffling. But, they give us great pay-per-views. And when they want to be their, a great wrestling company. But listen, this storyline is a little bit of a warning sign. We could be heading back into sports entertainment territory very soon.
Man, the spring is tough. I don't know what goes on every spring in that company, but man, it's not good. We're gonna need another fake G1 here to get things back on track. I don't know what, man.
I just feel like if you sign these big high-priced stars, you should probably push them. I don't know why that's such a wild concept.
I think you're probably right. I think the Ospreay thing has been good up until him going for this Roddy thing. I don't like this. I don't like that.
No, this is a horrible pivot.
He needs to just be in that purview and saying Swerve. He should be challenging Swerve right now and saying, I want the top title in this company, and Swerve can duck him for a little bit, and they might say, hey, Will, you got to do a little bit. But yeah, him like worrying about the Roderick Strong title is no.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they want to keep him away from Swerve for a while. They want to finish the Bryan Danielson feud. I understand all that. He's got business to take care of with the
He's hot as fuck right now. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's things you can do that aren't that keep him hot and keep him in a top mix.
Right, just have him fuck around with the Don Callis family. Him going for a bad title is stupid. Him going for a title that's beneath him is stupid.
No doubt about it.
He can just say, hey, Don, I'm done with the Callis family, and then the Callis guys can beat him down or whatever, and then he's got to one by one work his way through the Callis family. And that eats a whole cycle.
And then Bryan Danielson comes back, and that's a top of the card feud. There's things you could do that are at the top of the card or close to the top of the card than fucking off at Roderick Strong. That just doesn't make sense to me. It's just like Money for the TBS title doesn't make any sense. But you've boxed yourself into a corner with this Tony Storm thing.
Which finally feels like we're progressing a little bit with that, which thank fucking
Tony
God.
Tony is taking her work more seriously.
Yes, she is.
There's been a bit of a pivot with the character. Okay? It's still too hokey for my tastes, but she's taking the physicality more seriously now. So from that standpoint, that's good. But yeah, it's just I found last night's Dynamite just to be weird. It was weird.
It's a very weird show.
It felt awkward.
It feels like we're doing that thing again where we did last spring, where it just feels like we're getting pulled in a bunch of weird directions, and nobody. It doesn't feel cohesive. There was a while there where after we were doing the fall and the early winter, felt like we were finally back all hands on deck. We're all pulling in one direction. Now it kind of feels like we're pulling in a bunch of different directions again. So
take your biggest stars and push them. It's pretty simple, and then let the chips fall from there. I don't know, but and now Swerve with Christian, that's not going to be the drawing match of the pay-per-view. No. So now you're already slotting this new world champion at minimum like second or third from the top. It's going to be behind whatever the Elite's doing. You know what I mean? It's like that's not exactly getting the guy off on a great foot. And we all know he's not super over right now, so there's work to do. This isn't a guy who was super over who then you put the title on. This is a guy who was starting to get over, and he has a bit of a groundswell, and you're hoping that the title gets him over the top.
Right. The title.
Well, in order for that to work, right. But in order for that to work, you have to treat him like he's the biggest deal in the company. And I don't know, doing a title match on his first pay-per-view defense, which isn't going to be the true drawing match on the pay-per-view, and if it is, you're in trouble. Is not moving in that direction. So again, if you're going to commit to Swerve and make him the guy, then you have to show some guts and make him the guy. And maybe it won't work. And maybe this is his level, and maybe he won't get over as the true top guy. But that's pro wrestling. That's your job to try to do to accomplish that. And I don't see this Christian match as a step in that direction. It's a placeholder title defense. It's not going to be the top drawing match. I can't imagine it will be. It seems like this stuff with Omega and the Elite is going to be the bigger deal, on the pay-per-view. So I don't know. It's just, this is a very weird pay-per-view cycle that they are in right now. And I am not too optimistic of how this pay-per-view is coming together. If they do Okada Omega at the pay-per-view, I mean, that's absolutely a bigger match than Swerve and Christian. It's not even debatable.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You can't even have the debate.
No.
You can't even entertain the debate. Is that what you want to do to Swerve right out of the gate?
I would not. But they kind of put him in that position already, where we know there's going to be another match that's bigger on Double or Nothing already. We know it because there's no way that Christian and Swerve is going to be, unless it is, and then that's also like, oh man, I don't know, is that your top match? Is that it? We know there's something bigger.
Well, it goes back to the argument of, if Will Ospreay felt like the hottest and biggest thing in the company, why not pivot and put the title on him instead of Swerve?
Right.
But they didn't choose to do that.
Yeah, no, and I'm fine with Swerve winning, but I want Ospreay to be in that line already, where we know that he is right there, and it's just the Callis guys that are getting in his way, and it's just Danielson is getting in his way. It's just a couple guys, like, you know what I mean? Like we and now it feels like, oh, okay, no, we're keeping him away because we don't want him to suck the energy out of Swerve. Where I would rather it be Swerve's on the top of his game, Ospreay's on the top of his game, and it feels like we must hit this collision course. This collision course must occur. These two men must face each other at this title, and it seems like instead we're opting for the let's keep them away from each other for now, just so it doesn't take any attention away from any of the two.
You run a real risk. You run a real risk when you do that with Ospreay and cooling them off, and you might be in a position where 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, a year from now, we're having a conversation with, man, remember how red hot Will Ospreay felt when he came in, and now people don't care about him as much. Maybe they should have just ripped up their plans and put the title on him and strike when the iron was hot, and maybe that would have sparked something. Sometimes shit happens in pro wrestling that derail the plans you had in place, and you got to go with it.
Right.
Sometimes that happens.
But Swerve was also he wasn't to Will's level, but he was kind of up on that. I put him in a not similar trajectory. I think Will was obviously on a much, 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 much higher trajectory, but I do think Will was, or a Swerve was getting there too. And I think I think there was a way for Swerve to win and for Will to still keep his thing without him feeling. It's this Roderick Strong thing is really what it is.
Yeah, the Roderick pivot is bad. I mean,
right.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out a way to explain it, but it's just like, no, it's obvious that it's like, no, he could fuck around with the Callis family, he could fuck around with Danielson a little bit more for a couple months. That would appease everybody, but him going for a lesser title just feels absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, it's I can't deal with that. it's pretty bad, but we'll see. It is AEW. They're the spring, man. I don't know. Every time the spring comes around, they have a.
Well, look at it this way: they're going to do something with the Elite and Kenny Omega or whatever, and it's also going to be Mercedes Monet's wrestling debut in the company. Swerve is going to go on last, but realistically, it might be the third most important match from a drawing standpoint, right? I mean,
yeah.
And that's his first title defense on pay-per-view. It's even more of the argument I made of maybe they should have just kept the Joe feud alive. It would feel bigger than Christian.
Also, why did the Elite give Christian a title? I don't know, whatever. Okay. We're going into
that's
these
the
things
problems
again.
you
We're
run
going into
into.
these things again, which
Yes.
I don't want to get into. Is like
These are the problems you run into with authority figures and everything. Why didn't they just give Okada the title
Right.
shot? Why did they give Christian the title shot? Why didn't they give Jack Perry the title shot? Why didn't they give themselves the title shot? See, now when you do these stupid authority figure stories, you have all the shit that we've complained about with WWE over the years, and now it just doesn't make any sense. And you have all these logic holes. Why would they give Christian a title match? And why does Christian, what did he do to deserve a title match? A month ago, you were using rankings.
yeah, we had rankings a little bit ago, but
a month ago, you're using rankings. Now there's no rankings, and now Christian just gets a title shot.
Because the Elite want him
Christian,
to get the title shot. Even though they have Jack Perry, who's back here and doesn't have a title, why would they not just say, you have to face Jack Perry now? Or Okada. Or whatever, yeah. Well, and again, they did this. It's like people being like, you're overthinking it. No, they did the authority figure, we make the matches thing. So, no, they got to fucking fill up those logic gaps. They did that.
That's their job, not my job to cover for them.
Right.
That's their job. You're choosing to do heel authority figures.
Right. Then you got to make it make sense, not me. Anyway. Jeez. Speaking of making it make sense, let's talk about TripleMania Monterrey. This was 32 TripleMania 32 Monterrey. This is one of the three TripleManias we're going to have this week, this year. They told us a lot during the Vampiro retirement. This is the first leg of Vampiro's 3-leg retirement tour. And I went, no, God, why? Why is this man still retiring? I thought he retired already.
He retired anyway.
I love Larry Dallas on commentary. Says, this guy feels like he's been retired for 32 years. It's yes, precisely true.
Yeah. I think
he first wrapped it up in 93 the first time, and he's still doing it here in 2024. This show currently has a 1.39 on Cage Match. I would argue that's not low enough, but Joe, I did not get your thoughts on TripleMania. I've made it clear that I thought the show sucked. What did you think of TripleMania 32 Monterrey?
I mean, I thought it started off like not horrendous, and I was wondering why everyone was destroying the show so badly, because the first couple matches were like nothing I would recommend to anybody and nothing I was particularly enjoying.
They were also fine. They're fine. The 8-woman tag was fine.
I mean, by AAA standards, it was the first few matches were fine.
Yes.
And then I think just the back end of the show, it completely fell apart. And you're like, okay, this is just some of the worst Major League Pro Wrestling that you could even conceive. It's
trash. It's just utter trash. And
it's just a trash promotion.
It's a trash promotion. It's fucking garbage. It's just, there's nothing redeeming. It's junk. Nothing makes sense. I don't even know if it's supposed to make sense. Is it supposed to make sense? I don't even know if I'm not even in on the joke. And it's not even like a language gap thing either. It's like nobody knows what's going on. The crowd barely knows what's going on. People are just running in. People are turning on people. It's a junk promotion. It's just a junk ass promotion.
It's a junk. The announcers don't know what's going on. I'll get to that in a minute. It's just everything. Yeah, it's just it's just garbage. It's just a terrible promotion. They opened up with the 8-woman tag, which it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad.
Joe, I watched the show in reverse order. I watched the top 3 matches that when it really
got better as it went along.
Yeah, and I was like, this is a pretty good match.
By the time you got to that, you're like, wow, this is a 4-star match.
Good little fire on Fabio Apache here. This is nice. Yeah, I thought this was great. I thought, I would recommend watching the show in reverse order because, you'll think the Copa match was pretty. You're like, oh, hey, yeah, Mr. Guada really out there doing some good work here. Super Gallo, nice to see him. Yeah, the whole first half of the show felt great if you watch the first half after you watch the second half. I'll tell you that. But the 8-woman tag, fine, pretty good little fire out of, they were telling the story of Fabio Apache and Dalis, fighting and feuding over who's the top woman in lucha, wrestling history or whatever. I don't know if they quite, if it's quite these two, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but it's a mess though too, because first of all, they introduced everybody out of order, not with their team. So
yes,
everyone just came out. Then the production issues start. Then there's like random music playing that shouldn't be playing, like typical AAA fashion.
It's junk.
Larry Dallas
promotion is fucking junk.
Larry Dallas is going on about Los Toxicas winning the one award for best faction. I don't even think that award exists, and they certainly didn't win it. And then the finish is Dalise holding the ropes to pin Fabi Apache, and Larry Dallas is clearly confused. So is Joe Dombrowski. They're talking about how the Fabi Apache team are the Rudas, but the Los Toxicas certainly work like heels, and then Dallas holds the ropes like a heel. So I think they were confused as to who the technical Rudas were.
I completely assumed that Fabi Apache and that team were the
baby faces.
Yes, yeah.
And then Dallas cheats to win, but then the announcers are saying the opposite because I'm not even think they were sure.
Oh,
and
God.
And keep in mind, this might be the best match on the show.
Yes,
like what we're talking
about. This is the good part of the show.
This is like the good part of the show. This is how messy this was. And then, the work was fine, and they do the gimmick where she holds the rope to win, and then they're celebrating like heels. The Toxicas team, who Larry Dallas was very horny for.
Oh, he was very horny,
extremely horny for this Las Toxicas team, Flammer and La Hiedra and Maravilla. I mean, he's he's openly horny.
Yes, as they're triple teaming someone, he goes, "I'd pay him to do that to me," or something like that.
Yeah. Just openly horny.
And then they were like slapping their asses at one point. He's like, "One of you, Joe, one of you."
Yeah.
Joe's just like,
poor Dombrowski trying to cover for this. He's just trying to be straight-laced and call the fucking matches, and Larry Dallas is just, over there working a chub. It's just ridiculous. But then the Copa, these things are always just a fucking clusterfuck.
So long. They're just so long. They don't know how many guys are in there. Larry Dallas tells you, "I don't know how many guys are in this match. It changes every year, and it's never the same." And Dombrowski goes, "It's 13." I don't think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It was 14 people. So
and
he tried.
And 12 of them were 50.
Right.
Seriously. Pimpinella Escarlata.
Yep.
55 years old. Antifaz del Norte, who worked the original ECW, 52 years old. Charlie Manson, who did like a 6-year prison stint, 49 years old. Chessman,
he's got to be
years old.
I was gonna say he's got to be in his 50s. He's 48. Okay, good for him. Good for Chessman.
Heavy Metal, 53 years old.
Heavy Metal.
Okay, and look at every bit of it. Super Callow, 53 years old. Super Crazy, 50 years old. Okay, this was like an old timers game. All right, it was ridiculous, and a lot of them work it and look it.
Yeah,
I mean, this was just like 10 of the people, 10, I think 10 or 11 of the people in this match, 12 of the people in this match, their careers began in the 90s. Okay, that would be like watching a show in the 90s. And 12 of the 14 people on the show started their career in the 60s. That's the equivalent here.
Right. The
Think
60s,
about that.
Yeah. It's like
you're watching Attitude Era WWE, and 90% of the people on the show began their careers in the 1960s.
Right.
That's what the equivalent was of this match.
I'm trying to think who's a good guy that pop up on like a random who's like a good 60s wrestler that we can.
I don't even fucking know. It would be like if George the Animal Steel
it's like Gorilla Monsoon was earnestly wrestling a match, in the Attitude Era. It's like Steve Austin's in this battle royal, and it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Gorilla Monsoon earnestly walks out to enter the battle royal. And he was dead by that time. You know what I mean? He was like, he died in, I think, 1999. He's been a commentator since, the mid 80s or whatever.
And I just went through it. Like, all those people started their careers in the 90s. Like, you can get away with one or two. It was the vast majority of the match where these old fucking Super Callow nearly died on that bump he took. Did you see that? Where he hit his head?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they have Abismo Negro Jr. in the match.
Who, by the way, is a spry, like 34 years old or something like that. He's in his mid 30s, I think. And he's
33.
Yeah.
And then they have Abismo Negro's actual son, El Fiscal, in the match as well. So you're like, okay, they can set up like a natural feud here, and they can have El Fiscal come in for his father.
Sure, that seems like something Conan would book, right?
Right. He's the first guy eliminated. El Fiscal, first guy out, youngest guy, potential guy. Maybe you can push here. We got to make sure Heavy Metal gets all of his spots in.
Metal. WWF Royal Rumble 1997 star Heavy Metal. Yeah. Los Astros superstar heavy metal. Look at him.
Just a fucking. Oh, I forgot Toscano's 50 years old.
Yeah, he's in his 50s for sure.
Toscano's in the match. Toscano began 1994. If you're wondering the debut of Toscano, this would be the equivalent of someone who started their career in 1964 wrestling like on In Your House or something in fucking 1994. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here with this fucking Copa match, which Pimpinella Escarlata wins it with a fucking schoolboy on Antifaz at the end, like a little inside fucking cradle after all this fucking shit, and gets the hand raised. Where will this go? Absolutely nowhere. They built nothing in this match, and that win will go nowhere, and they'll do nothing with it. Arrow Star is going to turn 40 this year and was the third youngest person in the match. Third or fourth youngest person in the match. Okay?
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what we're fucking dealing with here.
It's AAA. There you go. In a nutshell. And this took 30 minutes to get done, too.
Right. And they're telling us that 14,000 people were there. Do you buy that?
Oh, God, no. What? No.
A lot of empty seats. Now, it was a big baseball stadium.
A lot of empty upper deck seats. A lot of empty upper deck seats. But
upper deck.
Lower deck. There was a lot of lower deck seats. Yeah, the women started the match in the light, and late arriving crowd, I'll tell you. If it was 14,000, late arriving crowd, they definitely arrived when it got dark out, for sure.
So after the Copa, Jeff Jarrett comes out throwing his tortillas. The
Which
Wolves
he
aren't
did
going to like
times.
That one, Rich.
Well, he did it multiple times
now. They're
now.
not going to like that one.
It's now kind of boring because he does it like he's doing it all the time now. Like the one time he did it because he got too drunk and he threw it around, but now he's doing it like 3 times a show, and it's like, all right, we heard you.
I regret to inform you, Jeff Jarrett is canceled. I'm sorry, Rich. I don't make the rules.
Jeff Jarrett, Pappy LePew, Speedy Gonzalez, canceled.
That's right. He threw the tortillas. That's it for him. Basically, the point of this was to introduce the big guy. Fucking Satnam Singh to the crowd, and then he had Hugo translating his shit talk for him. So just working up some heat for later in the show. Next up was a 6-man tag. Oh God, this fucking match. Beastia 666, Dr. Wagner
younger.
Jr.
Don't worry, we got a lot younger with another parade of 50-year-old men.
Beastia 666 is the son of Damien.
Yeah.
So he's only 34.
He's only 34.
But Damien would make an appearance.
He would.
Dr. Wagner Jr., of course, is 58.
He's approaching 60. He's almost 60.
And by the way, was not even close to the oldest man in the match because Negro Casas is 64 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it was probably the second best worker.
And definitely the best. Yeah. Definitely the second or maybe even the best worker, honestly.
Maybe the best. Yeah. So, Bestia 666, Dr. Wagner Jr., and Tigre Blanca defeats Forastero and Sansone, who are doing the Dinamita gimmick. And they teamed with Negro Casas. Now, Forastero and Sansone, they were CMLL guys who jumped a couple of years ago. I hope they're getting paid. I hope they're getting paid a lot of money to have made that jump a few years. And they look like CMLL guys. Like, they look like proper luchadors on this show where it's just a bunch of fucking sleazers. And, and like they stand out because you're like, these guys should be in Arena Mexico. What are they doing here on this fucking sleazeball show? So, the finish of this match was fucking preposterous. So Damien and Halloween come out.
Of course.
To save Bestia, right? And because that's his dad, and I think Halloween's related to them. Either way, they've been aligned for fucking decades. So, but then Mecha Wolf comes running out. Mecha Wolf and Bestia are La Rebellion, former NWA Tag Team Champions. But Mecha Wolf comes out and beats up Damien and Halloween, right? And then he goes after Bestia with the fucking kendo stick. So even the announcers don't know what's going on, and they're confused. And Larry Dallas literally says on the air, and I quote, "I think we missed an episode of TV, Joe," end quote. Because they don't even know what the fuck is going on. They don't know why he's going after his tag team partner, right? Then the finish is even more confusing because then the Dinamitas turn on Negro Casas and cost them the match. So now we've got like 3 different turns in the match. No one's really quite sure who's aligned with who for a few moments there, including the fucking announcers, let alone me. And then it all becomes obvious at the end where the Dinamitas are there with Wagner and then Negro Casas.
There's always so many turns. It's always just like this guy turning on this guy and that person turning on this person and it's like it's all nobody cares.
Conan fucking stinks.
He's so bad.
He's so bad. He's worse than Vince Russo in a lot of ways. You know, it's same style of booking, but worse in some ways, you know. And then, you know, it looks like they're building to Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Negro Casas, which, okay, are you going to do a hair match or something between those two? Maybe in fucking one of the other TripleMania shows. But this is AAA. You can't count on anything happening.
Hell no, you can't. Are you kidding? It'll
They
never
might
be
be
followed.
teaming on the next show.
Yeah, they might be teaming. It'll never be followed up on. You never know. You never know.
Alberto El Patron against Nick Nemeth for the vacant AAA title. El Vikingo came out to hand the title over.
Yes, he had to vacate this title,
And,
obviously. That's why we have this match here.
Wearing the knee brace. And Alberto El Patron comes out in the T-shirt.
Yes, T-shirt time. It is T-shirt time for El Patron here.
Well, first he had the military garb. He looked like fucking Fidel Castro at first coming out.
Look like Fidel Castro, yeah.
And
Corporal
then
Kirchner.
he's wrestling in the T-shirt, but the T-shirt's young as hell and about 4 sizes too small, and he's trying to pull it over his belly the entire match. Here's the problem with wearing the T-shirt, okay? You're just drawing attention to how out of shape you are.
Yes.
He would have been better off just not wearing the fucking T-shirt.
It's Lucha. You can be a little chubby, man. It's all right. It's Lucha.
He wasn't even woefully out of shape.
No.
He just had a little spare tire. He had a bit of a spare tire, and he clearly was self-conscious about it. Listen, dude, you're 46 years old. You weren't woefully out of shape. The T-shirt made it. That tight-ass fucking T-shirt made it worse.
You weren't fooling anybody with the T-shirt.
It gave him titties. He was pulling it over his belly the whole time because he was self-conscious about it. He would have just been better off without the fucking shirt. So that just made it worse. Anyway, I thought this match started off fine. My
review is like, this is not bad. This is kind of okay. Right. I like it. The crowd's kind of hot for it. Alberto, I felt like he maybe kind of had his working boots on. Nemeth seemed a little excited. Like, it was excitable at the beginning. I was kind of like, all right, I see what they're going for here. And this feels like a big time match. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like it had some gravitas to it. So I my notes started with, this is pretty good. This is better than I thought it'd be.
But
you know I'm sympathetic to the Hawk. But
and then it just completely falls apart the longer it goes. They're bringing tables into the ring. Nemeth must have been like, "What? These are not gimmicked fake WWE tables. These things don't. The tables weren't breaking." It all fell apart from there. Del Rio had no fucking Alberto the Boss had no fucking gas in the tank. He was totally gassed, and it just fell apart from there. And he did survive one zigzag end of world, whatever the fuck he calls it now.
It's with the Kenny Danger Zone. Kenny Loggins, Danger Zone. Yeah.
But then he succumbed to it in the end, and Nick Nemeth is your new AAA mega champion. Listen, and then Alberto's trying to sell this like it's some big emotional loss.
Right, he's got his family in the ring, and he's hugging them, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I've let you down, children." It's
and the kids do not give up.
They don't care. They're like, dad or grandpa. Or I don't know what his relation is to these people, but it's like,
those are his kids.
Are those his kids? They're like, his title doesn't matter, and you didn't lose the title. It was a vacant title. Like, who cares?
The son in particular looked embarrassed to be in the son is like 14.
Yeah, he's too old. Like there was 2 little girls, and one looked like 6, and one was like 9 or something like that. They were just kind of like, it's okay, Dad. And the 14-year-old was just like, I want to go play Apex Legends or something.
Yeah, The kid is like, can I get back to my Nintendo Switch? I fucking hate this. Right. He's like. He looked so mortified, like my friends in school might see me. I God forbid they're watching, and I have to, he looked mortified to be in there and just embarrassed. And Patron's trying to put this over like some big emotional loss, and it's just, man, it was progressively downhill from here.
Yes.
This is a show
the table failing to break is a perfect encapsulation of the show. It's like. a couple times. Nemeth is just not going through this table. It's just falling over, and they're just trying to. It's so bad. Yeah.
This show started at the bottom of the mountain. Don't get me wrong. Like it was not, but it ended like at the bottom of a canyon. Like it was just a straight shot down.
It gets worse, by the way, people.
It gets way worse.
If you think Nick Nemeth and Alberto El Patron is the worst this show gets, you are not even close. It's like the second or third best match on the show.
So we got the Jeff Jarrett match. Satnam Singh, Sam Adonis, QT Marshall, and Parker Bordeaux.
Excuse me? Please read those names again for me one more time.
Satnam Singh, Sam Adonis, QT Marshall, and Parker Bordeaux. However, everyone knows who I'm talking about. The fucking dollar store Brock Lesnar.
Bordeaux, Bordeaux or whatever.
So
Jared calls him Boudreaux, which is not how you. I know it's not how you pronounce it, but maybe I'm
Boudreaux.
Wrong. He says Boudreaux, but I don't think that's how you pronounce it. But that's all right. Who am I to judge Jeff Jarrett about pronunciation?
Listen, he'll be out of business in 6 months. It doesn't matter. So Larry Dallas called this this team. This was the best team to represent the U.S. since 1992 in Barcelona. How do you feel about that comparison?
It was good. No, it was good. Yeah, the commentators they realized this was a disaster and just said, let's run with it. And
I think Larry was enjoying some beverages during this break.
Oh, I'm sure he was. Well, yeah, he was having fun here. He was having fun in this match.
Well, he was also he was doing like his fake announcer voice and cadence.
Yes.
Was more and more pronounced as it moved along. Because he would say everything in the fake cadence and the fake announcer.
This is the best team America has ever assembled here, Joe.
That kind of thing. Yeah, where he'd be like, we've never seen a man of this size do this kind of high flying. Like that kind of deal. Like every sentence had that same announcer cadence. And by the end, I couldn't fucking take it anymore. Because then it was rubbing off on Dombrowski. And then he started doing it.
Yeah.
But the other side was Laredo Kid, Murder Clown, Octagon Jr., and Psycho Clown. No fucking Dave the Clown again. What do I got to do?
I don't know. No, you're not getting any Dave the Clown. And by the way,
we need.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Do we need Laredo Kid? Do we really need Laredo? Doesn't Dave the Clown make more sense to be in this match than fucking Laredo Kid when the other clowns are already in the
but
match?
we needed the spot where Laredo Kid did the suicide dive and Satnam Singh just shrugged him off like a fly. That was fun.
Okay, now that spot ruled.
Yeah, because Dave the Clown ain't doing that. Dave the Clown ain't doing that spot.
Well, you got fucking Octagon Jr. there to do it.
That's true. Octagon could have done that.
Right? They both did it. They both did the tope and just bounced off Satnam Singh's chest. And then they did, like, Murder Clown was going to do it, but then he got ambushed by Marshall and Sam Adonis. That was the only good idea they had for the entire match. That's the only spot that worked. The rest of this was utter shit. And, of course, the Mexican team hasn't won, and Jeff Jarrett yanks the ref out of the ring. And it's just like, what am I fucking doing with my life watching this shit?
I know,
like,
it's so bad.
You know what I mean? It's just awful. And then the Jarrett team wins. I did like when Psycho Clown was coming down to the ring. He has like his son come down with him with the Psycho Clown mask.
Oh,
right?
Best part that when Larry, are you going to say what Larry said here?
Yeah,
it's so good. Go for
it. It's nice to see veteran Tiger Jackson coming down to the ring with Psycho Clown, which was a great pull.
It's a great line.
Joe Dombrowski doing will you stop? Doing the monsoon, will you stop? But just a tremendous pull by Larry. But and then
to use the Tiger Jackson line too, because there's a lot of ways you could go with the Tiger Jackson one.
A lot of ways you can go.
That would not be as funny, but saying Tiger Jackson instead,
that made the joke.
That makes it even more funnier. Yeah,
that's you don't even need to workshop it. Tiger Jackson is the best punchline.
Yeah,
that's the one you got to go with. And then the main event was the worst piece of shit on the show, loaded with piece of shit with again. Youngster El Macias, who is a 48 years old and also started his career in the 90s. Pagano, who worked this with a separated shoulder, who's pushing 40. He just had surgery. Vampiro, who's 56 and has been retiring for the last 25 years. La Secta, which is Dark Cuervo and Dark Oz. Cuervo is 50 and Dark Oz is 49, and they also started their careers in the 1990s. And their spry young partner, Cibernetico, who's 49 years old, and also started his career in the year of 1992. Okay, 1992 is when Cibernetico began his career. So again, this would be like if someone who began their career in 1962 wrestled on a show in the mid 1990s. That's what we're dealing with here. Up and down this fucking show. I don't even know. Do you have adjectives to describe how bad this was?
I cannot even. My review is going to be, Joe, I don't even know how we're going to review this. It is so. It needs to be seen, but don't watch it. It is impossible to describe how fucking atrocious this match was. Like, I can't believe in 2024 a match can be this bad. I feel like we've hacked wrestling to the point where, like, even the worst wrestlers can have an okay match. No.
I think this
quite the
cage
contrary.
Match review. Check out this cage match review. Participants of this match seemed barely interested in the bout, and the finish came when all but Vampiro lost interest completely due to tepid fan reaction. And,
That's true. It's true. That's
a baffling main event.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no one wanted to be there. Absolutely irredeemably bad, just horrendous. A mishmash of weird people not being on the same page and a series of spots built around nostalgia turns and the embarrassing husk of Vampiro. One of the worst things you'll see in a major promotion this year or any year. I don't know if I could top those two reviews. This
That's great.
Was just, you can't get much worse than what this match was. It was just fucking horrendous.
Yeah, irredeemably terrible. There's
nothing good to say about it.
There's nothing to say about it. It was 16 minutes and nothing. I mean, it's six guys all doing their own thing.
No one on the same page.
Nobody on the same page. No
the
cohesion.
The youngest guy who was 38 was working with an injured shoulder.
I was going to say, his shoulder doesn't work, so that's not good.
It's fucking garbage. And Conan has the balls to go on his podcast every week and bash AEW, who we just bashed for 40 minutes and is like
never has been this bad. Never.
This is like 1980. AEW is like 1985 Jim Crockett Promotions compared to AAA. I mean, it's not even, Conan can't knock anybody's booking. I'm not sure this isn't worse. Is this worse than like 2000 WCW?
It's really fucking close.
It's equivalent.
I don't know that 2000 WCW had a worse match than this match.
I don't think it did either.
And I watched it all. Trust me. Unfortunately, I watched it all.
Because these guys, and on top of it, these guys were trying, at least for the first half of the match. Like a lot of that 2000 WCW, they weren't even trying.
Right. They knew they were working for a dead company and they're just cashing checks or whatever. No, these guys kind of had the aura of this is a big match that we care about.
And then they all gave up.
And then, yeah. I don't even know.
Well, when is the next TripleMania show?
Oh my God. I don't know if I could do it.
You could do it, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. AAA Tijuana, June 15th.
Lock it in. June 15th. I'm in.
August 17th, we have TripleMania Mexico City.
Now, you would think, based on what we saw, I'm going to attempt to follow Conan's booking here. You think we might get Abismo Negro Jr. versus El Fiscal?
Why are you trying to figure out his booking?
Well, I think we might get Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Negro Casas, hair versus hair.
Maybe. I don't know. It's
Dr. Wagner Jr., he cut a good promo in the post-match, Dr. Wagner Jr. Will Vikingo be back by then? Maybe he takes on Nick Nemeth.
I hope so. Honestly, even when Vikingo was there, their production is so bad and their booking is so bad that even a good Vikingo match would, it felt lesser than when he
couldn't enjoy it.
You couldn't really enjoy it that much.
Well, Jeff Jarrett's got to get his comeuppance. So who's going to take him out?
Yeah. You're right. Sam
You
Adonis.
don't
Remember that brief period when they were doing the it was clearly Sam Adonis floating it out there, but you had all like the all the Fightfuls and all those sites out there being like, Sam Adonis is a free agent and he'd be a great pickup for WWE.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, have you ever watched a Sam Adonis match? Not that I think he's fine. You know what I mean? Like
Someone tweeted Sam Adonis has been doing great work in AAA for years.
Tell me, how much Sam Adonis have you watched, sir?
Name your favorite Sam Adonis match
Right.
from AAA.
Like, more power to you for Sam to say, hey, you mind tweeting that I'm a free agent? Let's see if there's any, see if I can get a little bit of buzz going there. Fine. But yeah, don't lie to me and tell you you're watching Sam Adonis matches.
Yeah, but does anyone aside from Sam Adonis have a favorite Sam Adonis
Sam Adonis match? Let me think. Okay.
What's your favorite Sam Adonis
My
match?
favorite Sam Adonis match is... Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, he's been doing great work in AAA for years.
Yeah.
Surely you can come up with one.
Surely, yeah. As Made in the USA blares over the loudspeakers, surely there's something that's going to click, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, nevertheless, that was AAA Monterrey.
TripleMania Monterrey. So.
TripleMania.
I'm going with the match striker who went.
No, they were saying that on this.
Yeah, they were.
Brown
They were.
was saying it too.
AAA. I think.
Yeah, we're the dumb gringos. That's us. TripleMania. Nah, it's TripleMania. You hear that tongue roll, Rich?
Mm-hmm. Pretty
like
good.
That?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's currently down to a 1.37 on Cage Match, so it is fallen. It has fallen.
Little high, brutal show.
Yeah, that's too high for it. Okay. We only got a couple minutes left, but I think plenty of time to get through these last two topics here. Dragon Gate. I'm sorry, Dragon Gate. You're gonna get as.
No, I'm not caught up. I'm not caught up
either. So you know what? I'll watch Dragon Gate next week. Dead or Alive coming up this weekend. Big cage match. Case Low, a very great preview for us at voicesofwrestling.com, including match recommendations as well with links to the matches. If you want to catch up quickly, great preview. Check it out. Dead or Alive 2024 preview at voicesofwrestling.com. We'll watch it. I'll review it next week, but I'm not caught up, so my preview would just be me listing names, and you don't want that. Open the Voice Gate. They did a preview this week with the English voice of Dragon Gate, Jay. So go listen to that. Jay Church on there talking about the state of Japanese wrestling too. And Joe, he's not too confident about the current state of Japanese wrestling and venues closing and all this sort of stuff going on. So good conversation though. Good conversation there. I think 2.5 hours or so. Open the Voice Gate with Jay Church, voice of Dragon Gate. So
those are always great shows with Jay Church.
They're great. They get down to they talk Dragon Gate, but they also talk about the world at large of Japanese wrestling. And from a guy who's living there, who's seeing it, who's talking to guys, who's talking to wrestlers, who's on the ground. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that's not great in a lot of ways. So
Jay lets it fly. He lets it fly. He doesn't care.
He's got no problem. Yeah, he's not trying to protect any sources or protect any other jobs or whatever. So yeah, he lets it fly, both about his company that he works for and other companies in Japan as well. So can't recommend that enough. Open the Voice Gate with Jay Church this week, previewing Dead or Alive 2024. But quickly, let's talk about Wrestling Dontaku, New Japan's Wrestling Dontaku. 2 nights here. We start on the 3rd. So that's actually happening by the time a lot of you guys are going to listen to this. Nick Nemeth defending the global title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. David Finlay versus Yota Tsuji. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb. Those are kind of your business end matches. And then a bunch of other tag matches up and down the card. I can read them all off if you want. But for the most part, those are the big 3 there. Zack Sabre Jr. and Jeff Cobb for the World TV title. David Finlay, Yota Tsuji, and Nick Nemeth defending the global title against Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yeah, the word among some of the roster is that Nemeth and Riddle had title wins worked into their whatever their contracts are, their 4 or 5 match deals that they have, and that both of them also had it worked in that they had to work Tanahashi. So the rumor going around is the reason the Tomohiro Ishii match was non-title was because Nemeth had contractually has a title match with Hiroshi Tanahashi that they have to fulfill. So Tanahashi was injured. They made the Ishii match non-title, and now here's the Tanahashi match happening in back in Japan. So take all of that for what it's worth. And then
also a little bit of rumbling too that they're not entirely happy with Nick Nemeth winning a AAA title because obviously New Japan and their close relationship with CMLL.
It's true, but I don't.
Who knows?
I don't know. I get the sense that Nemeth isn't going to be long for New Japan anyway, so no. I don't know how much of a big deal that's going to be. And it wouldn't be. It would be CMLL that would have the gripe, if anything. And I don't know, because Nemeth is not, I'd have to ask the people who are more tuned in, but I don't get the sense that CMLL is going to make a big stink about it. They're not going to blow up the relationship.
No, not because of Nick Nemeth. Yeah.
So, but you never know. But I will ask around though, and I'll see what people have to say about that. And then the next night is Shingo defending the Never title against Gabe Kidd, Bishamon versus Chase Owens and Kenta. They're rematching that, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, and Moxley versus Ren Narita. And then Moxley will do the Shota Umino match back in the United States. And then, they have and then what's the third? He's got like 3 match. No. He already had the Will Hobbs match. So they have 3 matches set up, which is so unlike New Japan to have 3 title matches booked. They just don't do that. They book one at a time. And you can't just point at AEW and blame them because they booked 2 of them themselves. They booked the Narita and Umino matches. And then they approved the Will Hobbs match. So, I don't know. These shows have no juice to me.
None. I'm not excited at all to watch these.
I'm kind of dreading, honestly, having to, looking at the undercards, like, oh my God, I gotta watch this.
I say this all the time. I just feel nothing with New Japan right now.
Feel nothing.
I watch these. I watch these shows. I read these names, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man. What do you want me? Like it literally. I feel. I'm not like annoyed. I'm not. I don't feel anything.
Fucking War Dogs. Oh my God, up and down the fucking card. Let's talk about the Champion Carnival and get out of here. I'd rather talk about the Champion Carnival.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the Champion Carnival has been a lot of fun. So you want me to give you the updated standings as of today?
Let's do that at the end because then we can do scenarios. So we left off night 3. Night 4, which was the 24th. I will say this next batch of shows that I watched, I thought that the wrestling was a lot better than the matches we talked about last week. So I thought that there were better matches, at least at the top of the cards, than there were with the batches that we talked about last week. So particularly on this show, night 4 on the 24th, because I thought Satoru Ashino over Yuma Aoyagi was an excellent match. And then the main event where Yuma Anzai versus Suwama, I think that's the match of the tournament so far. I really love that. Yuma Anzai beat him with the that neck crank choke that he's doing.
Yeah. I don't know what does he have a silly name for it? I don't know if he does, but yeah, it's good. It's a good little move.
I thought it was a great match. The one thing about Yuma Anzai, he's got the Triple Crown title. He is coming across like he deserves that title.
Yes.
I feel like he really is showing the confidence in the spot. Do you remember the first time Noah belted up Kaito Kiyomiya?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. He felt like a scared little child that got the title and was like, oh no, I'm not ready. I don't feel ready. Nope. No confidence, no puffy chested, Yuma Anzai walks out, that fucking chest is so big. Yeah. He's so puffy.
And it's just the energy around him. Yeah. You can feel that he feels he belongs and he has the confidence. And Kaito Kiyomiya felt like someone who went into his father's closet to put on his clothes and was wearing Masawa's robe and because he was cosplaying Masawa back then. Now he cosplays Keiti Muto. I don't know why he just can't be himself, but and it's just there was no confidence and it didn't work. Yuma Anzai's coming across like he belongs in the spot, and it may have felt like they rushed him into the spot. Even you had some concerns initially. But I think this tournament, he's really solidified himself and he feels every bit a main eventer. It's not like these main events happen and you're like, oh, okay, but really the Kento match was the main event or really this other match. No, he feels like the main eventer and he feels like a legitimate Triple Crown champion. And, I thought this 424 show, at least the top 2 matches, were the best matches so far from a match quality standpoint. Did you watch that show or no?
I did. Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of that show, but that was a probably the best one in terms of like having two, because that Ashino Aoyagi and the Anzai Suwama matches were both pretty good. They were in top tier.
Yeah,
because I've seen some other. I saw a match that I liked a little bit better, but the show, that was probably the best show I've seen so far of the carnival.
I will say the Ashino Aoyagi match.
Yeah.
Wada sucks. I can't stand that fucking guy.
I know.
I thought he hurt the match a ton. I really think, I'm so sick of him. I wish he would just retire and take some office spot, but he actively hurt that match. And I'm talking about the referee, Kyohei Wada. He's just so bad.
So slow. It's too slow.
I've been complaining about him for like 3 years now. He doesn't really do the main events anymore. So they learned from that standpoint, but really he should just do opening matches and do his office work, because I thought he actively hurt the match. So night 5 was in Bodymaker 2 in Osaka. They drew 867 fans. That's not a bad house at all in Bodymaker 2. And I'm just going to talk about the top stuff. So it was the main event was Yuma Anzai and Rai Saito.
I thought this match rocked. I love this match.
It did. It rocked so much. He tried to beat him with that same neck crank that he beat Suwama with on the previous show. And on the first attempt, Saito got to the ropes. And then on the second attempt, like a few moments later, he hit a running knee. And he was like, all right, motherfucker, I'm going to put it on in the center of the ring. So he puts the neck crank on in the center of the ring. And Saito has nowhere to go. So how does Saito escape? He stands up with Anzai on his back and gives him a fucking Samoan drop.
Yeah,
right.
He played such a good big man in this match, Ray Saito.
Yeah.
There was one point where he was just clubbing Anzai like a bear. He was just slapping him and clubbing him on the head and the back, like just a caged animal. And Anzai, it was awesome because Anzai had to play like the little guy the whole match, and Ray Saito, who's gotten really good at being the big man, the monster, and it was just like a classic pro wrestling, a great way to structure a pro wrestling match of big guy, little guy, and they did it. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed every single part of it.
Yeah, and the finish was incredible. He hit him with that fucking open palm thrust, and the bump that Anzai took, he took like this backwards flip bump off of it. Holy shit, this match fucking ruled. I'm telling you, this batch of main events was a lot better than the first 3 shows that we talked about. I enjoyed the hell out of just about everything at the top of these cards. So I know we're running short on time. Let's go to night 6, which was in Aichi, where they drew another 850 fan, which again, these are strong houses for All Japan on these shows. And this was an interesting show because this was the Suwama Hideki Suzuki match, which I've had circled the whole time. And Suzuki did win. We knew he was going to get that win back on Suwama. We knew that was going to happen. Okay. Now, there was complete silence on all the early mat work because that style, we talk about it all the time, and fans just aren't engaged. By the end of the match, though, I thought it picked up and I enjoyed the work. And they did a finish where Suwama's corner threw in the towel when Suzuki had him in a, wacky submission hold. So Hideki Suzuki gets his win back, as we figured he would. The good news, though, Rich, I don't think mathematically he can advance. And
I was going to ask. I put that in my notes. I said I don't think he's going to be able to do it, but I was wondering if you had a way or a scenario or a path we can discuss.
Well,
that.
he could finish in a wacky multi-person tie, but they're not going to do that. So, from that standpoint, I don't think he could finish in a 2-way tie.
We dodged a bullet here, maybe.
And that's the only way. So I think he's out. But here's the concessions he got for losing to the Saitos early. He got the win back against Suwama. And I think he's going to win his match against, because I don't think he wrestled Yuma Anzai yet. Let me check.
He has not.
He's going to beat Yuma Anzai, too,
Absolutely.
and probably get a title shot. Yeah, so, there's no way.
Yeah, May 4th, he faces Anzai.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to lose to the Saitos, get bitch slapped by Rai Saito, lose to fucking Lord Crew or Road Crew or whatever the fuck, and not get some concessions out of that. So he got the win back against Suwama, and he's going to beat Yuma Anzai more than likely on that final night. So, and then they did Kento Miyahara versus Shotaro Ashino on that show as well in the semi-main event spot, I thought it was a good match. I thought there was really good leg work by Ashino on Kento, but Kento came back and won the match anyway. And his block actually is pretty clear cut, because as I look at it, he's got 10. He only has one match left against Davey Boy Smith Jr., who has the 8. So what they're going to do is Davey Boy Smith, his match against Cyrus really doesn't make a difference, right? Because if he beats Cyrus, he'll go into the Kento match tied at 10, and the winner is going to advance. But even if he loses to Cyrus, he can tie Kento by beating him and force a runoff match. But they're not going to do that. Davey Boy is going to beat Cyrus, and him and Kento are going to go into that final night tied at 10, and then Kento's going to beat Davey Boy.
Mm-hmm.
So the A block is pretty clear cut. There's really nothing else to discuss.
Yeah, what do you think real quickly about the Kento Ashino match? I think that's my favorite match of the Carnival so far. I thought that was
it was really good.
Really
yeah,
good.
I love the leg work, how Ashino was working the legs, and I didn't like it quite as much as the 2 matches on the 24th. I was really into those 2 matches on the 24th. But that's kind of my point, though. All of these matches, I thought, were better as a whole than the matches we talked about last week.
Yeah, we went on the show last week and said, like, yeah, it's been an okay tournament or whatever, but, like, it's not really, it's not in-ring. Yeah, but the uptick, the in-ring has been very good in the second batch I watched. There was even matches that I don't think were, like, traditionally, quote-unquote, good matches, I think were done. Like that Rice Saito, he's just doing great work throughout this entire tournament. They're not all, like, landing. Like the Rice Saito Lord Crew match on this night was like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, but it's fun as fuck. So it's like I think they've really turned the corner in this last half of the Carnival, where I don't think you're having any match of the year contenders just yet, but the work's getting solid. The work's getting solid, and there's some good matches coming up too in the next week.
No, they're topping out at like 4 stars for some of these matches. There's no match of the year contenders. There's no like 4.5 star matches in my view. Did you have anything that high?
No. I'm not there with anything.
I got a couple matches like 4. 3 3/4, that range. Some of the ones we just talked about. Nothing from last week, but this week's batch, yeah, a lot of the ones I mentioned are definitely worth a watch. But yeah, and that I guess that there's a show on early, like in a few hours. There's a show, but anyway, the A block, as we said, is pretty clear cut. It's going to come down to Kento and Davey Boy Smith Jr. No one else is even really in the mix. I guess technically Ashino has 2 matches left and he can get to 10, but he's going to lose one probably on the final night. Same thing for Yuma Aoyagi. Aoyagi has 2 matches left, Renayabe and Hokuto Omori. But the thing is, as we pointed out last week, I think he's going to get upset by Hokuto Omori and they're going to reveal the horsehead guy.
Right.
So that'll probably knock him out.
Oh, there was a great spot I have to talk about real quickly. It was, was this night? Let me find out which night it was. It was Renayabe and Hokuto. Yeah, night 5. So Hokuto Mori is trying to do the thing where he distracts the referee and he's going to try to like kick Renayabe in the nuts. Like Renayabe's got him like locked from behind, and Hokuto Mori is like distracting the referee. Hey, go look over there, and then he's going to do the thing where he like does a back kick into the nuts.
Yeah,
but Renayabe is like
the mule kick.
Yeah, the mule kick, perfect. But Renayabe is like a foot taller than him, so he does the mule kick. And he looks around and he goes, shit. Tries it again. He looks around.
He's like coming up short.
Yeah, and he looks and he turns over to Renayabe, and Renayabe is like, what? And he's like, oh, shit. I can't do it. Fuck. And I was like, that's a great little spot. I love it. Yeah. Because then he's just violently kicking behind him, like, come on, one of these is going to have to hit your nuts eventually, right? It doesn't. And then Renayabe is just like, no, man. Yeah. Come on, I'm like 6'4". You're 6'6". You're not going to hit me in the nuts like that. So good little spot.
Omori's been doing all shtick the whole tournament for the most part. So that'll probably knock Aoyagi out. Look, you could try to come up with hokey scenarios all you want. It's going to be Davey Boy Smith Jr., Kento Miyahara, both sitting at 10, and Kento's going to beat him. I'd be stunned if Davey Boy Smith Jr. goes to the final, but, who knows? It's not impossible, I guess. But now the B block is more complicated because you have 2 guys with 8 points, Anzai and Jun Saito, and then you have 4 guys with 6 points, Lord Crew, Hideki Suzuki, Suwama, and Rai Saito. But like I said, a lot of those guys with 6, the best they can do based on what matchups are left are multiple man ties at 10. And they're not going to book that. So we can kind of write those guys off. But the problem with trying to parse this out is a lot of these guys have 2 matches left, and it gets dicey trying to figure out. Basically, Yuma Anzai and his last opponent is Hideki Suzuki, and I think Hideki Suzuki is going to win that match. So at that point, you don't necessarily need Anzai going to the final because he's already the champion, right? So that would effectively spoil him. But then it's a matter of who comes out of the block to face what is most likely going to be Kento Miyahara. Is it going to be Jun Saito, who's also sitting there at 8? Well, he has 2 matches left. One against his brother and one against his former stable. Are they still in the same stable? Anyway, against Suwama, who he also has ties with. So he'd have to lose both. And that would keep him at 8. But I think Yuma Anzai is going to lose. Well, maybe Yuma Anzai will beat Hideki. I'd be shocked, but maybe Suzuki's losing that match too. Because I'm trying to figure out what kind of math to get somebody else to go through. Lord Crew is not winning the block.
Lord Crew's not winning. Yeah, who can we eliminate immediately? Lord Crew not winning. Honda, obviously, Hartley's out.
Yeah, forget those guys.
Does Suwama have a pat? He beats Lord Crew.
Well, he's got 2 matches.
And he beats Jun Saito. Yeah, he could absolutely get there.
He can get to 10. I think that might be it.
And then who would have the tie break on Anzai?
There's no tie breaks.
Oh, right.
So that would be it. He's going to get to 10 and no one else will have 10.
Yeah.
Because he can beat.
He'll beat both of those guys.
Yeah,
he'll beat Lord Crew and Saito. Yeah.
And June. And June will lose to his brother.
Right.
And that'll leave him at 8. Anzai will get upset. Will get spoiled by Suzuki. Okay, yeah, Suwama's going through. Anzai gets spoiled by Suzuki. And that's Suzuki's last match. That leaves him at 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anzai and Suzuki will have 8.
Right. There's pretty much only Suwama can go through by winning both of his matches, and only Anzai.
And Anzai can win, but Anzai only has 1 match left.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. If Suzuki beats Anzai, they both have 8, and they're both done.
Right.
They don't have another match. If Suwama wins both of his matches, okay, that eliminates Lord Crew, first of all, and it leaves June at 8, but then June could lose to his brother and stay at 8, and Suwama will have 10. So then Suwama jumps over Jun Saito and Yuma Anzai. Suwama's winning the block. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think as we lay it out there, it seems pretty.
And because Rai Saito can lose to Honda to leave him at 8. So there you go. That's the result of all those matches. That's what they're going to do. If we're working under the premise that Hideki Suzuki is beating Yuma Anzai.
Right.
If Anzai is beating Suzuki, you don't need to do all that bullshit I just laid out.
Right. But then are you really setting up another Kento Anzai match in the finals of the Champion Carnival? There's no point in doing that.
Yeah, because then if Kento beats him, then they're going to have another match for the title.
I guess you could, but...
You could. I don't think they'll do it, though.
No.
I think it'll be Kento and Suwama in the final.
And then you have two Anzai title defenses ready to go. You know what I mean? Hideki Suzuki and him, and then, whoever, Suwama or Kento.
Yeah, Suzuki will have a claim on a title match. And, he lost to some other people too, but you get the idea. Like, and then whoever wins the tournament. I think I'm going with Kento and Suwama.
Yeah, I think I'm locking that in too. That to me seems the most obvious.
Those will both be clean. There'll be no ties necessary with the runoff match. None of that'll be needed. So
unless they're really, maybe they're going all the way with Anzai, and he just fucking,
You could do that too.
That's a lot.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I'm fine with it, but that's a lot.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's how you fucking get people over.
Yeah, go for it.
So I wouldn't be completely opposed to it. So that's Carnival.
All right.
Next week too.
There it is. Yep. Talk about it next week because we wrap it up there because it is ending on the 12th. So we will know the final match by next week because the May 6th is the last show. So we'll know the final match by next week. So we'll cover that, preview that. Talk about Dead or Alive next week as well. I guess these Wrestling Dontaku shows, New Japan, as I said, New Wrestling Dontaku, Backlash France, maybe we can bust it out on Patreon. We'll see, and plenty of other stuff going on as well. So make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon, Patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon, flagshippatreon.com. Just released a brand new episode of Bret versus Owen, my series on the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart feud, 30-year anniversary of that feud. Thursday Dynamite reviews, as you mentioned. A lot of written pieces that went up this week from you, looking at the WWE and how they're handling the press and PR and all that sort of stuff. So if you wanted more about that, it's getting a lot of rave reviews, including one that's a free post that we want people to share, and you can sign up for free to the Patreon. We definitely recommend people do that. I've also talked about it on my audio shows as well, that you can downgrade and stick with the free. So say you're a $10 subscriber, but you're like, I'm not getting my value this month. That's fine. That happens. It's okay. Stick with the free tier, though. It'll ask you, hey, do you want to stay on their free tier? Do that, because what you're going to do is you're going to get updates on every single thing we post anytime we post it. And eventually you might say, you know what? That sounds pretty cool. I'm in again. And so it lets you stay up to date on what we're doing. Plus you get free content as well, like that written piece that you said. You're going to get that for free. Occasionally you'll get things for free. So it makes sense to kind of stick around with the free tier. Or we obviously have the $1 tier, trial tier, as well as the $5 and the $10 tier as well. So plenty of stuff available for you there on our Patreon. But there's that. voicesofwrestling.com/Discord, voicesofwrestling.com as well for previews, reviews, and columns. And that is it for us. Do want to know, we always mention this as well. We are going off the air, but if you want more wrestling content, the Mike and JD show is streaming live right now on the Voices of Wrestling YouTube channel. So if you can click out of us and stick right on the Voice of Wrestling YouTube channel, stay on the same channel, and you'll be able to go and listen to the Mike and JD show, as they are, I think they just started about a half an hour or so ago. So they're still in the thick of their show right now there on YouTube. So that's that. And that's it for us. So that is Joe. I'm Rich. We will talk to you again next time. Take care. Bye.
Hello there, my name's Neil David, and I'm the host of Eurograps Express, the podcast exclusively dedicated to the wrestling of Europe. If it's wrestling and it happens in Europe and it's good, we talk about it. Whether it's Rev Pro, Progress, WXW, Passion Pro, Pro Wrestling Chaos, Pro Wrestling North, we don't care, we talk about them all. If it's good and it's exciting, I want to share it with you. We're on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Check us out on the feed. Check us out on Twitter at EuroGrapsEXP. And join us for chat about European wrestling and a little bit of chat about cheese. Hopefully see you there.